Yo, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's having a good day. Welcome to the first episode of the Buds Fantasy Football Show.
Yes, sir.
I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this. Fantasy football is huge amongst a lot of people, and the two of us, we just love talking about football. We could talk hours about it. So we decided that we were going to come together and do a fantasy football show. Like I said, I'm Big Tom Bud.
I'm Carson.
And so we are we've been in the league together for probably what
4 or 5 years.
yeah
right?
so yeah some 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Fantasy football wise, I got into fantasy football probably 10 years ago. Obviously my love of football, and I just fell in love with watching absolutely every single game. Just a background, I'm a Bears fan. I guess unfortunately, and so just watching the Bears, and then it just got into, I got Red Zone one year, and just my father was always into fantasy football, so I picked it up that way. And yeah, this guest right here, this is Carson. This is Animal. I play Apex with him.
Yes, sir. I've been doing fantasy football for probably 15 years at least. Now, I mean, it's been a while. My dad, I remember him getting the newspaper and writing everyone's stats and then calling everybody and telling them what they got for the points for the week and stuff like that. So he's been in a long time. He got me into it, and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah. So it's super fun. Everybody does it. Children, men, women, everybody likes to talk about, I don't want to say everybody, but lots of people like to talk football. People even like pay money to hear advice, and we just love talking about it.
Yeah.
So I decided, hey, do a fantasy football show. I could do it weekly. It would give you guys ranks every week of, like, I'm going to come in every week and give you guys my ranks personalized of what I think, and I'll go into full detail. If you guys have caught my TikToks, I have done my top fives, and I've done top 12s of certain positions. And obviously with TikTok, it's limited, and I can't give you guys a thorough analysis of why I think that certain way. But here today, so going forward, if you guys are checking me out for the first time today, I am on Twitch.tv Big Tom Bud. You guys go follow me over there, and every single week I'll be doing a live show every Monday, probably around the same time. If you guys don't catch that, I will be putting it on YouTube within the day or two. So you guys can go get my YouTube also at Big Tom Bud. And all my socials. Again, I'm very, guys, I live for fantasy football. At this time, this is like literally all I do. So if you guys want to go follow my socials, almost on absolutely everything, it's Big Tom Bud. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. I love fantasy football and love talking about it. So if you guys ever have, throughout the weeks, if you guys ever have any questions or scenarios you want to run through, I'll go through it live. And again, also, when you guys go into my Twitch when I'm going live, because right now we are live, when you guys go on there, there's a chat there. So if you guys have questions that pertain to football or fantasy football, I'm going to answer those live for you guys, and we'll just keep going from there. So it's just very exciting. I love it, guys. This is awesome.
It's coming up. Our big draft's coming up Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Speaking of drafting, guys, I've talked to a bunch of you guys, and like I know people have drafted like a month ago. And there's a lot of things that go into drafting starting off, and guys, that's way too early.
Way too early, dude.
They're still talking today about people possibly being traded or injuries still happening in preseason.
Yep, and you don't even know who the starter is right away either.
Yeah.
Everything changes. It's crazy.
Yeah, so like, in my opinion, I would recommend, I know sometimes it's hard, especially getting a lot of people together, especially when you're doing live drafts and stuff like that. But I would recommend literally the week before the first week of football, or at least 2 weeks. That's what we're doing this week. We're doing our draft. It's 2 weeks before the start of the season,
Yep.
And that's perfect timing. Sometimes it's just kind of lucky to be able to get everybody together to do that. But again, plan for that ahead of time. Don't be doing it a month ahead, because then you're going to be drafting somebody in week 3 that could get injured or traded a week before the season starts, and now you could be looking at kind of an upsetting pick.
Yeah, I agree.
But I've done a whole bunch of different leagues. I just want to give you guys like my knowledge of fantasy football. You guys, some of you don't know what I know about fantasy football, or Carson. So just real quick, like I said, I've been doing it for about 10 years. I've done PPR, non-PPR. I mainly do non-PPR. I've done flex leagues, 3 receiver sets. I've done 12-man leagues, 10-man leagues. Let's see here. I've head-to-head weeks. I've done high points of the year. If I'm giving you guys my preferred way of fantasy football, and we're going to get into it in a minute
Yeah.
because we have a specialized league. It's his dad's league. He's been doing it for, again, what?
Oh, gosh. What, 20-something years?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
So, like, he has personalized settings, and it's actually my favorite league I've ever heard of, and I kind of want to let you guys know how this league is because it's something you guys might want to try out, even like if it's like a side league, just to try it out for you guys. It's amazing. So we'll get into that in a second. But, yeah, my preferred settings, it's kind of exactly what his league is going to be. I like high points of the year because head-to-head, right, it's every week you're fighting. But if you get behind and you start losing, you lose 4 or 5 weeks in a row, you're already out almost for the season.
And how many times, though, when you're going head-to-head, you lose by a couple points,
Yeah.
but then you beat everyone else in the league.
Yeah. So you could literally be in last place, and then within 4 weeks, you're back up in high points of the year.
Yep.
You're right back in it. So, like, there's always a fighting chance in high points. So I prefer high points. I prefer also 10-person leagues. I'm not a big fan of... again, I'll explain why I'm not a big fan of 12-person leagues, but 10-person leagues is where I prefer. 8 is...
I don't think it's enough. Everyone's stacked.
Yeah. You got a stacked team if you got 8 people, and 12 it almost becomes you don't have enough.
Right.
So like 10 is literally the perfect round for me. I love that, and again, high points. I know PPR is what is becoming the standard now, and while we're going through the show, most of our stats, just because we have come from non-PPR, most of our stats are going to come from a non-PPR standard.
Yeah.
I will still talk about PPR, here and there, because literally players change depending on PPR or non-PPR. So I'll go into depth a little bit more on that. Like I said, we got a show here, and I can go as long as I want. It's not TikTok 3 minutes, so yeah. So mostly, again, our standards are going to be non-PPR. And then, what do you like fantasy wise?
Oh, dude, I stopped playing. I did the head-to-head. I did, the Yahoo Sports and ESPN. I did all that stuff. Once I had finally had an opening in my dad's league, I jumped in there, and I quit every other league. It's not as challenging as this one. Like you said, we're going to get into it, but I like the not having the waiver wire. We do a lot more rounds than a normal league. The no waiver wire makes you talk to all the other owners.
Mm-hmm.
You're drafting backups. It's just it makes it a lot more challenging, I think, instead of a normal league. You can just sit there and jump into the waiver wire and say, okay, this guy got hurt. I can plug him in with this, and then you just set your lineup and you're done.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more into it than the standard league.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So like I said, his league. I'll explain this to you guys what this is because it's way different. When I first started fantasy football, again, I was mainly in ESPN. That's just the standard, the drafts, the snake, everything like that. This one that they're in, again, he's been doing it for 30-something years. I think it's perfected to the way he's done it. I've never heard anybody else do this type of league.
No.
So what we do, it's a 10-person league. He could probably explain it a little better. We'll go back and forth, so cut me off anytime.
Nope, you're good. Yeah.
So it's a 10-person league. We draft 25 rounds. So you're using 250 people within a draft. Standard-wise, if you guys don't know, is normally 15, right?
Yep,
The standard is 15 rounds. So we go 25, which eliminates having a waiver wire. You have so many different people that eliminating the waiver wire makes you have to chat, makes you have to make moves. You can't just sit there.
No.
Injuries happen.
Yep, you get an injury, you better be calling someone, or you better have a deep bench. That's, that's drafted. So
again, 25 rounds, having a deep bench, it's very, very important. Or again, you're making trades all year round, which is exciting. This is what makes it more exciting. Is a lot of people waiver wire. I am not a fan of waiver wire at all because. It's just people are sitting there at 12 o'clock at night.
Just sitting there waiting for it to drop.
That time hits, and then there's all of a sudden 10 picks already going off the waiver wire, and it's like, ugh. Yeah. With this way, no waiver wire, you have to chat, you have to talk. After 4 weeks is the first time that you actually have 4 weeks, right?
Yep.
We have a supplemental pick where whoever has left has never been drafted. Each of us have one pick. And at week 4, where we could actually take a supplemental pick and add them to our roster,
right?
Which is huge. And then again, we don't have another one of those until week 8.
After week 8, you got 2.
Yeah, you get 2 at week 8, and then you have the last one's what, 12?
After 12.
Yeah, so 12. So that's the only time you're going to be able to touch a player that wasn't even drafted. It was 4, 8, and 12.
That's it, yeah.
So it makes you have to make moves. It's very exciting. Also, we don't do standard point setting. Everything is a bonus everything's bonus achieved. So like quarterbacks, they don't even get points until they get 250 yards
or a touchdown. Obviously,
Yeah.
touchdowns going to count your points, but yeah, if they don't get 250, they're not getting any points. Running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends
Yep.
are all 75 yards or touchdowns. So it's a lot different to draft when you're sitting there aiming at that because I don't know. Just a quick thing, we were looking at the rankings for quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson was number 4. He ain't going number 4 in our league.
No.
He doesn't average 250 yards throwing a game, so he would be down the list a little bit. So,
But again, to that point, even though he's not throwing for the 250 yards normal, that's not his average throwing yards a game. He is rushing, which we do take into the fact that a quarterback who rushes for a certain amount of yards gets crazy amount of points. So Lamar Jackson still at that point gets so many points for that reason.
right.
So again, like I said, everything's a bonus achieved. Touchdowns, you get points for the touchdowns in our league depending on the yardage that was for that touchdown.
Yep.
So anything over 10 points, anything over 25, and then there's a 50, right?
Yeah, say that again. I was reading this comment. Sorry, go.
So the bonus is for like touchdown wise. It goes from 10 points
Yep.
and under.
Yep.
Once you get 10, then it goes up another point.
Right.
Once you get 25,
Yep, 25 to I think it's 40.
40.
Then anything over 40.
and then yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, kind of the yardage wise, receiver and running back, we kind of cap it off at 200.
Yep.
So if they get over 200, they're having an insane day in our league.
Yep. Well, how often does that happen too?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why those bonuses are made for that because that doesn't happen every time. Every year.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing with kickers. I know everybody's like, get to the kickers already. Same thing with kickers. That's all bonus based. It's depending on the yardage that they're kicking. So 25 and under to the 35 to the 45 and then 50 plus.
Yep.
So there's bonuses based on all those yards. Guys, I'm telling you, try this type of setting. If you guys have any more questions on that, feel free to message me. I can give you guys a rundown.
Get the rules, yeah. Give them the rules.
I can give you guys a rundown. I think that this style of play for fantasy football is phenomenal. And, I try to tell people about this all the time. So go check that out.
It's so hard to explain it, though.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. There's so much to it.
It's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even for defense, like a safety, 25 points.
25 points. Shutouts, 40, wasn't it?
40, yeah, something like that. Returning touchdowns for kickoff and punting, 15.
Yep.
So like everything's bonus based. So yeah, send me a message or whatever if you guys have questions on it. But we're gonna get into the actual football talk that everybody's been waiting for.
Let's go.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? First off, before we actually get into that,
Yeah.
do you do mock drafts before you actually draft your normal leagues?
I will do one every day this week.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
my big draft is Saturday, so I will do one every day this week and play different scenarios.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
week.
So like for me, I've already did 4 or 5 mock drafts, and then every night right before I go to bed, I'm gonna do a quick mock draft. If you guys don't know what mock drafts is, it's a very quick. It's free on most sites. ESPN does it for free. I'm shouting out ESPN here. They do it for free on there. You go in there, just look up mock drafts. So what it is, you're gonna get put. You can choose a setting that you want to go into. So if you want to go to the 10-person standard team, go to 10-person standard team mock. Go in there, and then so you draft your team like a normal draft. But after that draft, it's wiped clean. There's no memory of it. It's just to give you guys an idea of where people are going in rounds.
Yep.
That's all a mock draft is. Again, it's very quick. You probably not even a half hour to do that because it's a mock draft. I think it's like 30 seconds in between picks. So it's really quick. You can get that going. Also, where do you get like information throughout the year? Where do you get your information from? Do you listen to the radio?
I do a lot of. I got a couple sites that I follow constantly. I listen to a bunch of podcasts. I follow Training Camp. Just stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I have Red Zone Sunday when Sunday hits. I have 3 TVs going. My main TV obviously has the Bears game if they're on. Second TV has Red Zone, which I'm watching very closely, and then I have a third TV that I'm flipping through every other team, just checking out what's going on. I like to watch. Guys, not only do you want to watch stats a lot of the time for me, you want to see how a certain player plays. And just what I'm explaining to you here, last year, if I'm calling out somebody, just to give you an example, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
That very first game last year, the guy blew up, and he showed that he has potential to just be a beast. The way he ran, the way he was cutting, screwing that line up in the very first game. If you guys remember that.
Yep.
But throughout the year, he went mediocre. But you see that there's going to be huge potential for that guy future-wise. Stats-wise, it's not going to show that specifically, but you at least see that this guy might have technical skill that goes beyond another running back, and you can put that into account.
That player too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I like to try to watch as many football games at one time as I can. It's more important you've got to watch it. If you guys want to be good at fantasy football and stuff like that, you have to put the time in to watch every single game, see how the skill is for each player. It's very important. So yeah, I get my stuff from Red Zone. I watch NFL Network, obviously.
Right.
Radio state. I listen to the radio. If I'm in the car, I always have sports talk on there.
Yep.
And then again, just looking on websites, ESPN site mainly for the. I think it's just so much easier getting through the website, navigating it. It's a lot easier to me. So that's what I use for my material throughout the year, and then obviously just my own personal judgments based on what I'm watching.
Yep.
So that's what this whole show is about. And then also, before we actually get into it, guys, other than fantasy football, I know last year this was a huge thing, blew up. Every single game started off with them talking about, before the game even started, talk about sportsbook betting. So
it is huge.
It's humongous. And last year, I got into it insanely. So much fun. It actually brought me even closer into the game, because I'm literally paying attention to the small analytics of everything. So throughout the year, it's too early now, right? So like weekly when I do my show, I'll be going through sportsbook betting with you guys. We'll go through it. We'll do a whole bunch of stuff. I'll show you guys a little peek of what I'm doing. Obviously, guys, I would prefer you not ask me questions on what you should guys do. I am not making money decisions for you guys. I'm not your financial advisor.
Well, I'm gonna be blaming you.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm gonna look for. But don't ask me questions on what you should be betting, because that's not what I'm gonna do. But I will give like I said, come in with your questions or scenarios, and I'm gonna obviously talk about it on the show live for you guys, or I can just answer you quickly, guys. Call me Matthew Berry, because I'm gonna be on this 24/7. All right. So we're gonna go into the ranks. We got a whole bunch that we're gonna talk about with football now, and this is where, guys, I don't know about you, but I can go on and on for hours about this. So,
where do you want to start? Quarterback?
Yeah, we can start. You go through quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up here real quick. My quarterbacks, as you guys know, I've made a lot of TikToks, different clips of me talking about football so far, and I've had a lot to talk about on quarterbacks that a lot of people have questioned my decisions on some of these quarterbacks. So here I could give you guys a better analysis, and then Carson's going to tell you, his stuff on the side too. We're just going to get into it, just naturally talk about football. So obviously, number one,
you got to go Patty, dude.
Yeah,
he's the future, man. And I'm telling you, the next 5-8 years, this guy's gonna be number one.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's just gonna kill it.
He's already been up there. He had tiny injury last year. He clipped his ankle.
Yep.
I'm question you all the time, but don't always say it. Oh man, 42. But yeah, Patty, the guy is just gonna be. He's our quarterback of the future here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, him, Josh Allen, I think it's going to be, he's right there with him. It's going to be crazy. I mean, that's the future of the NFL right now.
Yeah,
it's going to be those guys.
And it's funny because you say Josh Allen. I actually did look up some stuff on Josh Allen. I wanted to get a little bit more in depth on Josh Allen, and I pulled up some stats for him. And it was actually stats that kind of actually blew my mind. This guy, let me pull it up for you so you can actually see what I'm talking about here. Let's see. Professional over here, guys. Josh Allen stats. So when we're looking at it, the guy came into the season in 2018. Quarterback rating of 90.4. Hold on. This is not right. Oh, yeah, okay. So he had a quarterback rating in his very first year, 2018, 67.9. He threw for 2,074 yards. 10 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. At that time, we're like, oh, man, is this going to be another, at this point, is this another quarterback, we're going to be moving on to the next one. Is this a Manziel,
right.
Something like that. 2019, the guy came in, had 85.3 quarterback rating, 3,089 yards, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Incredible leap, a lot better. And then last year, obviously, where everybody is super excited about this guy, and I don't want to put him. There's tiers to quarterbacks, right? There's tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. My opinion, I'm not putting Josh Allen tier 1 yet. After just looking at these stats, because last year he did have a great year, 107.2 quarterback rating, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, threw for 4,544 yards.
Jeez.
That's great numbers, phenomenal numbers, and I would put him in top 5, easily, probably top 3 for sure. But it's hard for me to say he's a tier 1 quarterback.
It is. No one else is on the same league as Mahomes. That's the way I look at it. There's not. Everyone else, after Mahomes, you got Josh Allen. He starts the tier 2. He's right on that verge of going up to that tier 1.
There's still, the next person I was going to talk about is Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah. He's got to be up there with. You're right. He's up there with Mahomes. I always forget about him. I'm thinking he's.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was easy when he wasn't going to be playing up until 3 weeks ago. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, I put him. I still say Aaron Rodgers this late in his career. Guys, he's fighting for another contract next year. Maybe. Who knows? He says he's trying to go to another team next year, but he's going to fight for it, and he's going to try to go get a bigger contract. So Aaron Rodgers, I'm putting him in that tier 1 until the guy shows me he can't do it anymore. He's going to stay in my tier 1. So technically, I actually budge here with a third in my tier 1. Up until watching what Russell Wilson did late last season, Russell Wilson, in my opinion, was always tier 1. Nah.
I'm just not a fan of him. I know he puts up numbers every year. I know he does. But as a fantasy point of view, I pick players that I love watching and that I'm excited to watch get on that field. Wilson, what did he do last year? I know he had a great first half, but then he kind of slumped, right?
Oh yeah, he
slumped hard.
Yeah, there it is. He definitely took a huge drop last year. Again, guys, he's been in the league for since 2012, so he's on 8 years, going into his 9th year in the league. Let me see if I can pull up these stats for you guys here, so you guys can see it yourself, see what we're looking at.
Yeah.
There you guys go. You guys are looking at that. He's been in the league since 2012. That's the stats I'm looking off of right now. Every year, look at that. Just about almost 100% QB rating every single year, which just means that he's throwing for so many more touchdowns. The ratio of touchdowns to interceptions is phenomenal. So we're looking at pretty good stats there. Let's see, has always been above a 3,000-yard throwing season, and it's progressed as he's went through the years. One slip there in 2017 and 2018 there, but came right back to it. Last year was an off year for him. He had didn't have a great year at the end of the year, but look at those stats there at 2020. Still threw for 4,212 yards, and then threw for 40 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. Yeah, that
is pretty damn good. Yeah, you're right.
With a quarterback rating of 105. The team didn't show, it seemed like the team wasn't showing or producing stats the way it should have, and that's just shocking. That's the stuff that you want to look at. Yeah, the team might have not good, but you got to look at what the player does overall. So, looking at those stats there, I'm gonna say that Russell Wilson hits my tier 1 quarterback list still too. So technically, for me, my top, I have 3 tier 1 quarterbacks, and I'm gonna be going with.
I'm gonna throw a wrench in it real quick though.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's got 40. What was it? 4,200. Passing yards, right?
Yeah.
40 touchdowns. Look up Brady's stats.
Brady stats?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna be going. There's gonna be pages of this.
I know. Just for last year.
So there we go. We're looking at holy cow, guys. 2000 was the year he came in. So last year's stats. Look what we got there. Wow.
Yeah. How do you not put him in tier 1 then? If you're putting Russell in there.
Holy cow! I actually didn't look up Tom Brady.
No,
to be honest.
They were junk. Or not. I don't want to say they were junk. They were not good. They were 7-5 before their bye.
Yeah.
After that, he just took control of the team.
They made the playoffs and won the Super Bowl after being a wild card.
Yes.
So it's not like they were for sure.
New team. Brady doesn't know Arians. Arians doesn't know Brady. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have much history. And then he turns around like that. What's he got there?
46-33.
And 40 touchdowns.
40 touchdowns to 12 interceptions with 102 quarterback rating. That's actually really, really good numbers. So,
dude that's been in the league for 20 years?
Guys, that's what we're here for, to show you.
That's crazy, ain't it?
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, I did not look up his stats because I didn't, going into the season, he was my number 10 quarterback that I'm ranking.
Yeah, you look at it, and he numbers same with Russell. And that's a guy that you can get later on that no one thinks about.
Yeah.
Oh, he's old, he's not going to do it again. He's been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
20 years, yeah.
And it's not going to cost you what Wilson's going to cost you in the draft.
Guys, look at this. Look at these numbers for Tom Brady. A lot of people want to complain about Tom Brady. This guy has never had under what? An 87.3. Never had under an 87.3 QB rating in the league ever since after his first year of being in the league.
Crazy. That's ridiculous.
19 years of that. It's crazy. Tom Brady, I mean, obviously people talk about how he's the GOAT. Those numbers right there, obviously, it's hard to argue that fact. Oh, hell yeah. What's up, man? How you doing? So, yeah, that's a little bit of what we're looking at there as far as like stats, and we'll go back and forth with that. God, man, dude, I'm so glad you actually showed me to pull up that Tom Brady stat.
When I seen you pull up Russell, I'm like, yeah, just wait a second here.
So, again, to me, in that aspect, I like to look at, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this too. I like to look at people who've had injuries in the past. I like to look at, obviously with Tom Brady, you got to always talk. They've been talking about it for 5 years now, the age of Tom Brady and how he keeps on going. Obviously, we just seen those numbers. That's absolutely insane. For people who don't think about that, guys, my son's coming in the house real quick, so it might be a little might for a second, but yeah, those are insane numbers, crazy numbers. I still have a hard. How do I still have a hard time?
You ain't gonna draft him.
No, I'm not drafting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but his stats don't lie.
Yeah,
guys.
If I'm being honest with you, yeah, those stats showed what they were. My personal opinion, Tom Brady's number 10 in my rankings when I went through it. And I'm going to still stick with that just based off of the age. Also, you guys got to remember the fact that he does have Mike Evans over there. And he has...
he's got that Tyler Johnson, which I really like. I really like that rookie.
Yeah.
Is Antonio Brown still there?
Yeah, right? Antonio Brown's still there.
Who else? There was one more.
Godwin?
Godwin, yeah.
Godwin, yeah.
And then, then they got their freaking tight ends, too.
Yeah.
O.J. Howard and Gronk.
Yeah. Yeah, Gronk, yeah, for sure. You can never forget about that guy.
No.
Still always catching touchdowns. He had a slow start last year, but came back into it. Again, another guy that I'm not going to be drafting. We'll be going into that in a little bit here once we get to the tight ends. I have a lot to talk about when it gets to the running backs and tight ends.
Yes.
So I know that's probably the main talk that people want to hear. Again, quarterbacks. If I'm going to give you guys my top 5, and then maybe I'll go from 5. I'll go to 6 to 10 for you guys real quick. This is my personalized quarterback rankings. So I'm going to go with number 1, obviously Patty Mahomes. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, I like that.
Yeah,
I do.
Aaron Rodgers at 3. I am going to go, and I know I said this is just based off of 1 year. I do think he's going to be a future, and I think this is another breakout year for him. So I'm going to go Josh Allen at 3.
I like it.
At 4, it kind of gets jumbled up here. It gets jumbled up here, and I'll explain my reasonings for this. But at 4, I'm still going to go Russell Wilson. I'm still doing it. The guy every year, we're talking about it, he's MVP caliber. They're talking about it last year. They were still talking about it last year, even though that team was kind of suffering. They were still saying up until the middle of the year last year that Russell Wilson was MVP candidate.
Yeah.
And every year they're talking about
his
that.
wide receiver core, too, is ridiculous.
Yeah, you got Metcalf, Lockett.
Yep.
It's hard to deny. I think that they actually do have a good running game, despite what their stats always show. Yep. They are still a good ground and pound team. So I'm going to go Russell Wilson at my 4. Number 5, I've actually went back and forth with this a lot, and I'm glad I can talk about this right now. Man, it's very tough because you go. It could literally be jumbled. 5 through 7 can be jumbled.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I think 4 through 7. For me, 4 through 7 is just.
Yeah. 5 through 7, and I'm just gonna tell you my 5 through 7 right now. I'm gonna be going, and this is in no particular order. Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray.
Yes.
And believe it or not, guys, I know this is really fetching. After a first year, I would like to say Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
I'm going Justin Herbert.
I love watching that guy.
Yeah, I love Justin Herbert. The guy was fantastic to watch. I'm not just basing it off of how fun he was to watch last year, but I'm basing that off of this. Again, you guys got to watch the technical skill behind a player. The Chargers were not technically a really good team last year.
No.
They weren't. They were put together last minute. If you guys don't remember, Justin Herbert wasn't even the starter quarterback last year. They were going Taylor.
Yeah, yeah, and then the doctor with the lung.
Yeah,
thing.
he punctured his lung, and then he's out. Tyrod Taylor, and punctured his lung, and then Justin Herbert was thrown in there. Wasn't even thinking about starting,
No.
and the guy was phenomenal. And I think he's got a huge career. I'm putting him up in my 7.
Yeah, I like that, and I really think his numbers are going to be huge this year.
Yeah,
Eckler's back.
Yeah.
Eckler,
people gotta remember that.
They had no running game last year.
No.
You got Eckler, and that guy's a stud. I love Eckler.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of weapons over there. Still has Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Mike Williams. There's guys over there that are gonna make. They're all getting a little bit up there. They're all getting up there in age, but I still think that we're talking about a top 7 quarterback at the end of the year, numbers wise, and that's why I don't want to rank them. That 5 to 7 is so hard. Dak Prescott, as we know, slings that ball. Is the guy going to be 100% healthy going into the year? They did say he's going to start week 1.
Yeah.
So you have that, Dak Prescott.
That just worries me, man. I mean, that's my team. I'm a Cowboys fan. And his injury, I was reading a report we were talking about last night. It might be lingering all year. So I don't know what to expect of that.
As long as he's doing those hip workouts, right? Guys, I'm laughing at that, but if I try to do that hip workout, I'm blowing my hip out. So. But yeah, I don't want to rank it. Kyler Murray, I've talked about this a whole lot because people have argued my point of Kyler Murray being a top 7, top 5. Guys got to remember that he has a ton of weapons. He's got DeAndre Hopkins that he got throughout the year last year too. So DeAndre Hopkins just catches everything. The guy's an animal. He's a beast. But Kyler Murray, I still don't feel has broken out as a stud quarterback yet.
No, and it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
I do. With Hopkins, and then you got Edmonds over there. Connor just got traded up over there.
Yep.
Christian Kirk is going to be coming around. The guy was doing great last year.
He's fast.
They got A.J. Green now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's got the weapons now. He's really got the weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess veteran status with A.J. Green and DeAndre Hopkins at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't pass on that.
Yeah.
I know they're getting up there in age, at least A.J. Green, especially with the injuries.
Yep.
But still, that's that veteran in there that is going to push his quarterback.
And he's just going to be a possession guy.
Yeah.
Hey, you need that safety net. You're going to have him cutting across the middle, and boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need 5 yards, you're going to get it out of A.J. Green.
Yeah.
He's going to win that battle.
Yeah. So, and also you can't deny the speed that Kyler Murray brings to the field, too. The guy is so quick.
Game changer.
Yeah. So, again, also to the other fact is he is a very small quarterback. He is not the 6 foot, 6 foot 5 quarterback that we're used to seeing in the league. He is small, but at that point, the guy just still sifts the ball through every angle that he possibly can. So again, top 7. We're gonna go to 8, and that's where I would like to actually put Lamar Jackson. I would probably put Lamar Jackson at 8 for in my list.
There's a couple others I like better now.
Yeah.
The problem is I've been in that league so long that if you're not throwing for 250 yards, I don't want him.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want him.
Yeah.
Lamar's good, but how many times did he needs to have 75, and then the big points are over 100 yards rushing?
Yeah.
How many times last year did he get over 100 yards rushing?
No.
You know what I mean? So I'm totally ignoring that guy on my list for that type of draft.
Yeah. Okay.
That's me.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, so when you're looking at our points for sure, I don't even want to put Lamar Jackson on our maybe 10.
For PPR, stuff like that, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would go with them for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's why I said PPR, not PPR, we'll put that into perspective.
Yep.
At that point, with the way he rushes, but again, guys, he does not throw what an average quarterback in the league does, at least yet. He doesn't have weapons, guys. He has Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is his number 1 receiver over there as a tight end.
Right.
And I looked up Mark Andrews' stats yesterday, and Mark Andrews is only the biggest year that Mark Andrews has ever had for receiving. I looked it up yesterday. 852 yards with 10 touchdowns 2 years ago. For that being his number 1 receiver, quarterback wise, he's off my list.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Absolutely no.
I know a lot of people say Hollywood Brown. Is that Marquise Brown?
Marquise Brown. But what's he done? No.
He hasn't done nothing. And on top of him not really doing anything yet to be even, I almost don't. For a lot of teams, believe it or not, I would put Hollywood Brown as my 3rd receiver. I think he's a slant guy that goes across the middle, and they don't even utilize him that way yet.
No.
But he's just
trying to make him a number 1, and he's a slot guy.
Yeah, he's a easily slot small guy. We're talking about not even what is he? Probably 170 pounds.
Yeah,
the guy is very small. So for that fact, Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, doesn't have the weapons to be up there with the other quarterbacks, and I'm putting him high. I'm putting him high at 8. So that's my opinion.
Marquise Brown, his yards last year was only 769.
Yeah.
For a number 1 wide receiver,
Yeah.
that's not.
So
that's
his
not
top
doable.
his top two receivers last year, 769 from his actual receiver, and Mark Andrews' stats last year, he had 701.
Yeah.
So we're talking about between his top 2 receivers together, didn't even get
yards?
1,400.
That's crazy.
That's not a quarterback you want to go with.
No.
I understand the yards he rushes, but again, he didn't even do the rushing yards last year.
No.
And obviously, you always got to put into perspective. Like I said, I'll always throw this out there: a rushing quarterback that is mainly rush, especially when his top 2 receivers are doing that, tend to get a little injured and banged up throughout the year. The RG3s, you got to put in that perspective too. You don't want to go into a year drafting somebody. That's why I'm trying to tell you. You draft Lamar Jackson first round this year, and then that happens, you just lost your first round pick.
Yeah, 2,700 yards passing last year.
Yeah, wow.
That's it.
Wow, we're talking Tom Brady threw 4,600.
Yeah.
40, almost doubled Lamar Jackson's numbers throwing.
TDs.
That's what we're here for. That's you. Those are stats that people don't see, man.
No, that's crazy.
Lamar Jackson, he might be a flashy quarterback, but you got to look at the stats all around and the team that's around him. I do think that if he gets a receiver, man, I think that he really does blow up and does a little bit better.
Yeah.
But again, when I'm looking at it through my eye, my personal opinion, I don't 100% even see the technique back there from a top tier quarterback. I just don't see it. I think that he has rushing quarterback in the forefront of his mind before passing quarterback.
Yeah, he's a run first.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time. You know what though? I would love throw Mike Thomas over there.
I know let's
see
would
what
be
happens.
huge.
I want to see what then you're gonna know what kind of quarterback he is.
Yeah,
because he's gonna have one of the best in the league.
Again, that's a move that actually works out for both of those guys.
Does,
Mike Thomas gets out of what he's
in. Yeah, he doesn't like it now. So.
Yeah, and Lamar Jackson desperately needs that weapon again. And in my opinion, guys, we're gonna go over this when we get to the receivers. I think Michael Thomas is still also he's proved right.
Yes.
Beast.
Yes.
Phenomenal. But I think that he's a slant master. I've been saying it to my buddies for a while. I call him Slant Master 3000. That guy, he has the burn speed to do an out. But I think that you throw Michael Thomas in that slant every time, he burns absolutely everybody, and that's where a lot of his stats come, in my opinion. If you look at the overall stats of that. So at 9, we'll get moving along here. At 9, I'm for sure, and this could easily go over Lamar Jackson. I almost want to say over Lamar Jackson, but let me pull this up real quick because I want to make sure I'm not missing somebody here before I start rambling.
I know, that's what I'm kind of looking
My opinion, I'm putting Ryan Tannehill at 9. I think that yes, he had tough starts to begin his career. He was with Miami Dolphins, tough years. He went over to the Titans 2 years ago and has done nothing but progress, and he's producing guys. Yes. People don't see this. I think he's a quiet quarterback of the league that is tearing it up.
No one brings his name up.
No,
always they're jumping over to the rookies from last year and stuff like that. They're jumping right over him.
Yep, I'm looking at the top. I'm looking at four professionals in fantasy football thing, and they have him 12, 11, 11, 10.
Yep.
10, he's my 9, so I can't argue the 10 a little bit, but nobody ever talks about Ryan Tannehill. He easily could be my number 8 quarterback at the end of the year. Guys, remember, he also got Julio Jones this offseason.
You just added Julio.
Yeah.
That's gonna open it up for
AJ Brown,
yes.
Julio Jones. You still got Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, that team, we're looking at a high-octane offense this year. I'm putting a lot of stock into all of Titans.
Yep, same here. Same here.
Yeah, I'm very high on it. I'm easily sticking with Tannehill at my 9, probably easily 8. You know what? I'm changing it on the spot. He's my 8. Lamar Jackson's my 9.
There you go. I would do that. I like that.
At 10, and I've had this here for a while. You guys, you know what? I'm only going to throw this in there just because, a lot of people, it's fun to talk about. There was a move over the year with Matt Stafford. I'm not putting him at my 10, but I do want to talk real quick. Matt Stafford has been, I'm sorry, Detroit. He did have Megatron. He did have Megatron for a long time.
Yeah.
But the Detroit, for entirety of Matt Stafford's career at least, has...
What else have you gave him?
That's it.
Nothing.
But we're talking about when he had Megatron, he still had on a winless season.
You're right. Yeah.
So like Detroit, the Lions, I don't feel that Stafford ever had. He had Marvin Lewis, and he had he just got traded over to Houston. It's slipping my mind right now.
Yeah.
He's had 2 decent receivers here for the last couple of years, but I don't think Detroit was producing
Cooks.
what Stafford would actually produce if he was on a Rams.
Yeah.
And now Stafford's over with the Rams, who has insane weapons.
Great coach.
Yeah. Offensive-minded, great coach.
Yep.
Who's going to push Stafford. Stafford's a little bit later in his career, but I think that this younger coach will push Stafford to go a little bit harder, even better. He's got weapons galore all around him. I have a hard time not saying that Stafford would be my number 10. Again, for sure, since we looked at those stats for Tom Brady just a few minutes ago, I am going to go Tom Brady at my number 10. But Stafford, in my opinion, is right there. And I know, guys, I know a lot of people are saying, well, what about Deshaun Watson? The only reason I didn't bring up Deshaun Watson is because there's so much still speculation.
No one knows what's going to happen. It's kind of went on a hush for the last month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, nobody's even talking about it.
It came out and then everyone was quiet.
Even if you look at the professional, the professional football analysts, let's see where they have Deshaun Watson at 25. Guys, for sure, Deshaun Watson is not.
He's not even on this list.
No.
Yeah,
and I'm looking at my list through the ESPN analysts, and on mine they have Deshaun Watson at 25. No way am I ever going to say if Deshaun Watson is not in trouble, his stat wise, his ability wise, he's way higher than 25.
Absolutely.
But with the speculation, I've had a lot of questions with that in my other videos. I'm not going to be putting Deshaun Watson up there for that reason. I just don't know. Again, I didn't put Aaron Rodgers on there 2 weeks ago when I did my video.
Right.
So just for that reason, I'm not going to have there. But Deshaun Watson probably could make that list easily. Make it at 10, if not 12.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely top 12 for me if you're barring the what's going on with him in his career right now.
Yep. I want to hear your input on the rookies from last year. Obviously, we all love Herbert.
Yeah.
What about Burrow and Hurts?
Burrow, in my opinion, and I've had this, guys, I'm glad you actually brought up the Burrow one for sure.
I like Burrow.
I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I made a top 12 quarterback list a couple weeks ago, and Burrow was my 12 actually.
Did you have him on there?
Yeah.
I can't remember the list.
I have Burrow. I
just can't remember.
I had Burrow at 12, and it might be pushing it again. The only reason it's pushing it is because Cincy is just not a well put together team yet.
Right.
I, in my opinion, don't have faith in Joe Mixon. I feel like that guy's had a couple of years to prove, and I feel like he's another running back that's a lot of talk.
Yeah.
Again, he's also had injuries too. I don't talk about Joe Mixon here, but that revolves around Joe Burrow's early career. Joe Burrow has to be placed with talent. He's got T. Higgins.
Dude, and then they just picked up Jamar Chase.
That's
what I was just looking at. Tyler Boyd's still, and he's still there.
Yeah. So, he has the weapons. I don't think he has that top-tier weapon to throw him over the limit, but he has weapons over there to produce. I just don't think that Cincy is overall a good team right now. Give it a couple years. I think we're talking about Joe Burrow being up there. In my opinion, I don't know if I'm going to ever say he's a Herbert. I guess we'll look into it later.
So. No,
but I do think at some point in his career, 3-4 years down the line, I think we are talking about speculating Joe Burrow being top 10, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just quick stats. I mean, he played 9 games last year, and that's the 10th game was when he got hurt.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a buy-in between there, but he put up 2,700 yards.
Oh.
So I mean, that's not horrible. 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions.
That's starting off a
that's
great
what I'm
career.
Saying. Yeah, that's what.
On a terrible team, guys. Actually,
yeah.
See.
Yeah. And now you just added another weapon like Jamar Chase. That guy's gonna be a stud too.
Yeah, so those are great numbers. If you wanna pull that out, because that's a little bit over halfway through the season, he's probably looking at for sure 4,000 yards,
45, yeah,
30 touchdowns with 10 interceptions. Those are great numbers, especially on a team that's just not. Guys, remember this? How many times last year did Joe Burrow have insanely almost comeback 300-yard games at the very end of the game?
Yeah.
He has that clutch and it factor, too, about him.
That's what I really like Burrow. I think he's going to be more successful than Hurts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or Tua. I wanted to touch on Tua. What do you think of Tua?
You want to know what this is literally, guys? I have the exact example of what I think Tua is. Marcus Mariota.
Game manager?
He's starting right now, and he's going to be a backup for a team at some point in the next 3 years.
I can see that. I can see that.
I'm not shitting on you, Marcus, if you see this. But I'm just saying, I do think that Tua is he's a starter right now. Again, how many times last year did they go back and forth between him and Fitzpatrick while he was
What were
playing?
they doing, dude?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can't sit there and do either. You give him the full reins, or you say you're sitting until next year. Learn behind Fitz.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just keep. I don't know, man. I did not like how they were doing that last year.
Yeah.
You can't let him play half a game and not correct himself, and then pull him. All right, Fitz, get in there and do it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not really high on Tua. Hurts, as you said. A lot of people are very high on Hurts, and I think it's overreacted.
I do too.
What did he play last year? As far as he didn't come in until the very end, right?
Right. Yeah. Here, I'll look.
They ended up dropping Wentz very, very late at the end of the year, and went with Jalen Hurts, and they lost Alshon Jeffrey through the year, right? Not that Alshon Jeffrey. I'm not gonna say Alshon Jeffrey was gonna do anything exactly for Hurts or Wentz at that point. Alshon's just kind of been Alshon if you guys have been following his career.
All right, his passing attempts or passing stats for 2020, 15 games, 1,000 yards.
Oh,
1,061 yards.
that's Jalen Hurts?
Yes. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's what he did. 52% completion percentage.
Woo!
That's it.
Guys, that is not even. That's a 25-30 ranked quarterback.
That's it, easily. And these guys have him. Where's my list right here? Where's Hurts? They got him like number.
They have
12.
him at 10. They have him at 10 on my list.
Yeah.
Guys, we're talking about
15,
a quarter.
He played 15 games.
15 games, 1,000 yards. Aaron Rodgers is
Then
throwing
again,
for
you know
1,000
what?
yards
I
and
bet
4.
you. I bet you some of those stats though. That's not when he started.
Yeah.
So when he popped in and threw that one pass or whatever, you know, remember how they did that sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cut some slack there, but still.
Oh man, but still 15 games.
Right.
We're talking about. Again, we would have to look at the stats to see how many times that was a game that he went in there and threw 2 or 3.
Right.
Again, 10 though. We're still talking about people are ranking him at 10.
Here's his game log.
Way too crazy, too high of a rank for Jalen Hurts, in my opinion.
He took over. It looks like week 12. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games.
7,
6, something like that. Yeah, week 12 through 17. He had 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that. 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Yeah, see, he's not. There's so many people I would draft over him.
Yeah. Definitely, I don't know if I'm putting him in my 20.
No.
Joe Burrow goes over him.
Yep.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
I like Baker.
Burrow, Ryan.
I'm going Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go Mayfield over him in a heartbeat, man. I like Fitz over him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, still Roethlisberger.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I'd probably do Roethlisberger over him right now. Matt Ryan.
Dude, I would gamble on Sam Darnold over him.
Really?
Yes, I would.
Derek Carr. A lot of people keep forgetting Derek Carr.
Yeah.
I'm not. Guys, I traded a huge trade. I think especially to him last year. Was it you?
Yeah.
Big trade last year. I ended up taking Carr. Big trade. So when I say that I lost Mahomes in the deal and I got Carr in return, that's not what the final deal was.
No. I remember I gave you Brady.
Yeah, that's what it was. You gave me Brady.
Who was the running back I gave you?
Was it James Robinson?
Yes.
James Robinson and Brady, and I gave you Mahomes.
Yep.
Guys, I didn't win the season last year.
I got close.
Yeah. So, that for quarterbacks. If you guys have questions again, scenarios throughout the year, don't forget. Let me know. We'll talk about it live, or I'll message you. You know, if it's too late.
Before we go into running backs, though,
yeah,
draft class this year, quarterbacks. Who's starting and when? Who's going to be the most successful out of this group of guys? You Bears fan. Which one's going to be the most successful?
Man, it's tough to say. I do think that Trevor Lawrence, he does have. I'm not liking Jacksonville. I don't like Jacksonville's offense. I do think he's got Chark. He's got.
He's got Shark. Well, who's that other Chenault?
Yeah, Chenault. Yeah, he's got.
I like Chenault.
He's got really speedy receivers who are going to get some big yards for him at certain points. I'm just not really huge into the Jacksonville, and I don't know if he has a breakout season this year. Obviously, everybody knows he was the first round pick this year in the draft, and he'll be a good quarterback, hopefully. Trevor Lawrence, I'm not really too high on, if I'm being honest.
I'm not either. I like Lance better than him. I do like Fields better than him.
Yeah. Zach.
Wilson from the Jets.
Yeah,
he's gonna be all right.
Again, we're talking about. We're talking about the Jets.
Yeah, he's gonna be all right.
The goddamn Jets. Trey Lance.
See, the thing that sucks, dude, the Jets. I mean, you look at it, and they look like they got decent players, and they just never show up.
Yeah. Austin, do you guys even know what you're saying, Jerry?
Where Jerry placed last year?
Yeah, man.
I couldn't see him from where I was at.
Oh man, we got some people, guys. So we were kind of speculating: should we do this? Should we not? We're in this league, and all these guys are going to be listening in and trying to cheat off of us to get, because we were doing our draft on Sunday.
You know what? I will write notes for Jerry, and I will give them to him before draft.
There you go, Jerry. Look at that. Oh man. So running backs. Again, this is. I know a lot of people want to listen to this. This is going to be probably a big talk here. Guys, I dove hard last night. At least into the top 5, because people want to argue top 5. I dove hard into the top 5 running backs that people want to talk about. Pulled up stats from every which way. I have a lot to say.
Yeah. And our opinions are going to clash.
Yeah, for sure. That's where we actually knew this was going to be a decent conversation with running backs. Fun. Because I have way different opinions that he has. Again, also take into account, guys, most of our standards, what we're looking at, is through our league that I told you guys about in the beginning of the episode. But I will go back and talk about PPR with you guys, because PPR actually with the running back class, that when we're looking at the stats, is a huge deciding factor.
Yes.
When I'm saying that, we're talking about, if you want to look at PPR, I think that Alvin Kamara should easily probably be top 1, 2, 3 running backs.
PPR,
going.
Absolutely.
PPR for sure.
Yep.
The guy, I looked up his stats. I'm just going to dive right into it. We're just going to talk about it. Alvin Kamara has never had a 1,000-yard season. Rushing. Never had a 1,000-yard season rushing, but we're talking about stats-wise. We're talking all-purpose. This is through rushing and receiving.
Yep.
I'll just put it together. His very first year, 1,554. Second year, 1,592. Third year, 1,330. Fourth year, 1,688 last year with 21 touchdowns.
That's huge. Those touchdowns, but you got to take away. The way I look at it is, remember the Thanksgiving game? 6 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen every year. I'm taking away a couple of those and factor them down a little bit. A little bit smaller than that. But he put up good numbers. The problem is in our league, if he's not averaging that 75 rushing and 75 receiving, that's nothing.
Yeah.
He could get 70 and 70, and we get 0 out of him.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
So on top of that, about Alvin Kamara having those numbers, and he had phenomenal numbers last year. And I also want to make a point that Drew Brees did not play a whole ton of games last year.
No.
He did miss quite a bit due to injury, and they were running out there with Taysom Hill. So I do want to say that before I say Drew Brees being there might hurt Alvin. I don't 100% think that. I do think that by Drew Brees not being there, they do focus a little bit more on Alvin.
I agree. Yeah, I think they're going to try and get him more looks.
Yeah, they're going to become a rushing team,
and it's crazy because he already gets so many looks too. But they got to have that safety net, and you're going to have Winston. You don't want him throwing that ball. We know what happens when he throws it.
30 for 30. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But also on top of that, guys, Michael Thomas. It's really a deciding factor on what happens with Michael Thomas going forward. I know he's throwing this fit with this organization.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going to happen with Michael Thomas. I think that depending on if he stays there, or if he even, plays.
Who knows?
That's a huge deciding factor on it, too.
Didn't he just last week say he was injured or something, right? Yeah. He sat out of practice because his leg. I don't even remember.
He's sitting out practice.
But is it to the point now where he's just making up something?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to go out there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I think that also plays a factor into Alvin Kamara. But both ways. It could be both ways because people could be watching watching Michael Thomas, trying to focus Michael Thomas and giving Alvin Kamara more space, or it could be giving Alvin Kamara more playing time as far as receiving because now Michael Thomas is not taking the receptions away from Alvin Kamara.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
But again, do you double? Is that where you start getting more focus on Alvin Kamara, taking away his potential of bigger games, more yards, touchdowns? So Alvin Kamara is kind of a tricky play when you look at it. Again, you got to remember, not a 1,000-yard season one time in his 4 years, but he is consistently averaging 1,500 receiving, rushing.
He's one of those players that I'll already have marked off my list before going to draft day because I'm not going to draft the guy.
Really?
Yes.
I will not in our league, for sure. Yeah,
I will not draft him. He's already off my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
PPR, he's going to be number one.
Oh yeah.
I'll take him number one.
Such a big difference, and that's why I wanted to talk about the Alvin Kamara right there on my list. If I'm giving you guys my list of running backs, he makes it 4 on my list. And then that's going standard point system, not the league that we're talking about.
Right.
Standard point system, I have Alvin Kamara easily at 4 on my list. But the big one I want to talk about, and guys, this is what literally, I didn't actually know these stats until I started looking this up yesterday. Everybody, clear cut number 1. If you guys were to choose who's the best running back, if you're pick number 1, what are you going as pick number 1? If you had to pick a running back, pick number 1, who are you going?
90% of even everything online. What's their number 1 running back?
McCaffrey.
That's everybody's got McCaffrey.
Yeah, and I think that me and him are kind of on the same setting on McCaffrey.
Yep.
Guys, I have a lot to say on this one. I have stats written down for McCaffrey. The guy last year, let me tell you, played 3 games last year only. I know that what he did previously, and we're going to go into that, but 3 games last year, and we're talking about this guy is clear-cut number 1 running back after a big injuries. And it wasn't just one injury that he had received last year. It was multiple injuries because he's tried to come back and play a few times.
Yep.
And just got re-injured again, taken off the field
Yep.
for multiple different injuries. So we're talking about multiple injuries in his last year. 3 games only to his stat sheet. Before that, guys, in his very first year he was in the league, he came in
2018, right?
2017. He came into the league. Rushed for only 435 yards. 2 touchdowns. Did receive for 651 with 5 touchdowns. So I'm assuming at that point, I don't really remember that far back. Was he starting in his first year? That doesn't sound like starting stats.
I don't think so. I don't.
That doesn't sound like starting
stats. I think 2018 is when he really...
Yeah. So when we go to 2018, he did rush for 1098, 7 touchdowns, but received 107 receptions and had 867 yards with 4 touchdowns.
That's pretty dang good.
Or 6 touchdowns, sorry. That's good. We're talking about a good season. Is that number 1 running back caliber talk yet? No. Probably easily top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that top 1. So then when we look at the only actual really good year that he's actually had, and then we're talking about that was 2 years ago in 2019, 287 rushes, 1387 yards, 15 touchdowns. That's just his rushing stats. And then we got to go over to 116 receptions, 1,005 yards with 4 touchdowns.
That's huge.
Again, we're talking about another quarterback that just hit 19 touchdowns through his year. All purpose. That's, we're looking at 2,000. We're looking at about almost 2,400 yards.
All-purpose yards.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's almost 900 yards more than any of Alvin Kamara's years that he's had in the league. That's guys, put it into perspective.
That's right.
Yeah. And I understand why you say McCaffrey for that reason is number 1 clear cut, but I kind of don't understand it.
That was 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago. It was only 1 year that he had like that, and he just came off of only a 3-game season with multiple injuries. And I'm putting that into the fact.
New coach.
Yeah, new coach.
New quarterback. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Kamara. Everyone wants to jump on him. That's fine. I hope they do. That's another one, though, that's on my list that even at 7, I'm probably not going to pick. If he fell for some reason, where I'm sitting at, I'm finding someone else.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're saying 7 is where you put him?
I
actually almost...
I don't know, man. Because there's just too many others that I have more hopeful that I think are on better teams.
Here's a question.
That's gonna be better.
Here's a question.
More
If you don't mind letting Jerry know.
Oh yeah, what's up, Jerry?
No, he's not questioning.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. Are you taking? I'm making a scenario for you. Are you doing Chubb or McCaffrey?
I'm going Chubb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even with Hunt over there, it's gonna keep Chubb 1 healthy.
Yeah.
2, he's been in that system for a while.
Yeah.
He's not going to be getting the complete workhorse, but when he's in, he's going to be fresh.
Yeah.
And that dude can break off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we're going to get into Chubb in a few minutes here because, again, that's a guy that teeters.
I like Chubb.
teeters top 5 for me, and we're going to talk about that. Again, it's sort similar to the quarterback ranks that I gave you guys. There's like a good like 5, 6, 7 that I could easily throw in there and just mix with each other. I don't even want to put them in order, so we'll get into that. So we got into the McCaffrey talk. I was really excited to talk about that because, guys, I understand that last stat, the 2,400 all-purpose yards.
That's huge.
19 touchdowns, huge. Again, 1
2 years
season,
ago.
2 years ago, 3-game season last year.
New head coach,
Hard.
new quarterback.
Panthers are, in my opinion, not. I have them almost worse than middle of the pack.
Yes. Yep.
As far as going into the season right now, so I have a hard time putting McCaffrey. I for sure in mine, he's top 5. He's top 5 to me. I think that 19 season is enough to say that, but this is another stat I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'd probably go. I'd be at 6 or 7 probably with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Top 6.
That's solid still, though.
Yeah.
Talking about one season, and mediocre than the year before that.
Right.
Good. I don't want to say mediocre. Better than mediocre.
Right.
Derrick Henry, as you guys know, in my opinion, is my favorite guy in the league, and I'm not putting that into perspective, guys. I really do look at the stats and the actual play of a person. I'm not putting favoritism, but I'm just saying Derrick Henry is my favorite player in the league.
Yep.
But I did go with a couple stats here for you guys. In my opinion, he's the number 1 pick on the board gone.
Yep.
Easily for this fact. Derrick Henry in 2 seasons has more just rushing yards than McCaffrey has in his entire career. If you guys don't know that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, McCaffrey, 2 years. The last 2 years for Derrick Henry had more rushing yards than McCaffrey his entire 4 years of being in the league. So when people are putting McCaffrey over Henry, that's why I'm kind of mind blown a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm not taking anyone over Henry. Dude.
Yeah,
I mean, that guy is a standalone. I understand everyone's worried that he's going to get injured.
Yeah.
And he can't keep the production and the handles that he's doing. I think with them adding Julio, they're going to take his production down a little bit. But he's still going to get his yards.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be fresher than what he was last year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you get to him in the fourth quarter, when that defense is beat up from tackling him, he's gone. That's when he strides.
That's his 200-yard games is when they're doing that.
Absolutely.
And I think they got to really utilize that. And the Titans, I know that they're going to be a high-octane offense this year with adding Julio Jones over there. But I still think you still stick with
Holy crap. 378 attempts.
Yeah, 378 we're talking
That's
about.
Crazy.
And that's having A.J. Brown and not Corey Davis.
A.J. Brown and...
who was over there last year with A.J. Brown?
It was Corey.
Was it Corey Davis?
Yeah.
It was Corey Davis. He got moved over. So, still 2 really good receivers, and we're still talking about over 378 attempts.
2,000 yards, 5.4 yards a carry. If you look at his yards per carry is just going up ridiculous. When he came into the league, 4.5. He went down in 2017 to a 4.2, but now 4.9, 5.1, 5.4. It just keeps
average.
Going up,
man. His yards average, I looked it up, almost every single year up 0.4 yards.
Yeah.
Touchdowns have went up. His attempts per rushing up.
Yep.
Touchdowns up, yards up, everything's moving
Fumbling
up for
down.
Derrick Henry. Fumbling down.
Yep.
Even guys, I know that he's not a receiving running back, but even his receptions have went slightly up.
Yep.
And I think that there's just more upside. It's hard to say that there's more upside. How do you say there's more upside after a 2,094-yard season? I think it was
2027 is what
2027. Okay, that's hard to beat again. But I think that we're talking about look at the body of Derrick Henry. The guy is just a machine. A lot of people have him a little bit lower on the list. If you're looking at professional lists, and I've listened to a lot to these professionals on why they're doing this. They think that he's put so many miles on in the last 2 years that it's going to alter the way he's going to produce coming up in the future here. And as you know,
he needs those miles, though. That's what beats down that defense.
Yes.
That's why he can come through in the fourth quarter and break off a 60-yarder.
Guys, when you look at his play, he doesn't even look tired at the end of the game.
No.
So
how many times did they pull him out, though?
Yeah.
After he did so much, they just pulled him out, and he's still sitting on the sideline like, hey, let me get back in there.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're done.
He's just a machine. When I'm talking about the body of work that he has, it's the same thing with DK Metcalf. They're just freaks of nature if you look at these guys.
You're not used to seeing a body type like that at running back either.
No.
You know, most running backs are the shorter guys, that can cut on a dime. This guy's just brute force.
Yeah.
He'll run you right over, which means, in my opinion, his body's built different.
Yeah.
He can handle those loads like that.
Yeah. He's actually just such like a bigger running back than everybody else that he almost looks a little bit slower as a running back. Yep. But guys, he's got burn speed. Yes, he has burn speed at running back, and not to mention, does he have burn speed? You catch him in one-on-one in open field. We know what he does with those stiff arms.
Yeah, you're going to the sideline.
You're walking into a Mack truck right there, and you're little Kia. So I don't know. I have Derrick Henry easily top one.
Absolutely.
Stats just prove to me he's had upside his entire career, and even with Julio Jones going over there, I think it's
going to help him.
Yeah,
because you're not going to be able to stack that box and play one-on-one both AJ and Julio.
Yeah.
You can't play them one-on-one. You're going to get burned every time.
No. Another one people like to talk about is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is number 3 in a lot of these professionals' stats.
How many seasons has he played? Full seasons?
Full seasons, never.
Never.
Never. Yeah. Guys, Dalvin Cook has never played an entire full season. In fact, his very rookie season, he only played, I think, 4 games.
Yeah.
Or something like that. He didn't even play halfway through the year. That was his first season. Tore his ACL. But not on top of him tearing his ACL. Obviously, he's came back from that. We're going to talk about the stats here in a second. He's the only one that's actually came close to rushing attempts to Derrick Henry, mind you, and is still 70 attempts behind Derrick Henry when we look at the stats. And we'll go through that in a second. But not only has he had torn ACL, this guy has had a career of concussions. If you watching the body work that he has when he's playing, he's a running back that he's very fast. Cuts that line and is probably one of the quickest of getting through that line and getting into open field.
Yes.
But when you watch him, he is running with his head forward, and which is why, in my opinion, is why he gets a lot of these concussions, gets a lot of these head injuries. Is he's running so fast and he's a downhill runner, and he runs like a downhill runner, and the head forward, my opinion, that's why he's so injury prone. He's a little bit of a smaller running back. He's not obviously Derrick Henry by any means. But when I'm looking at stats right now, first year, obviously, we're not going to talk about it. He had 400 yards towards ACL that year. I'm not going to go into that. Nothing really happened that year. He did bounce back to a 2018 season, had 133 rushing yards. After a torn ACL season.
No, rushing attempts.
Oh, yeah, rushing attempts. Sorry. Rushing attempts, 133. After a torn ACL, I actually think that's actually pretty good for a running back.
Yeah.
To come back and bounce back and have over 100 rushing attempts, that's phenomenal after a torn ACL. He did end the year with 615 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 305 reception yards. That's pretty decent for a torn ACL season coming back. Good. Then next year, 2019, 250 yards rushing attempts with 1135 yards and then 13 touchdowns. He did have 519 yards receiving, but 0 touchdowns in that factor. Yep. So, again, we're talking about better than mediocre.
1,600 yards, all-purpose.
Yeah. So, 1,600 yards all-purpose. We're talking about Alvin Kamara numbers, and that's 3 years into his career. And then last year, obviously, what we're looking at, 312 rushing attempts. 1,557 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns, 361 receiving yards with 1 touchdown. So 17 touchdowns. Again, we're looking at another 1,800 yard all-purpose yards a year. That's phenomenal numbers. And that's his last year. Again, guys, got to factor in the fact that he didn't even play all the games last year. Still had really good numbers into that.
What did he play last year? 14? Yeah.
Yeah, 14 years. I think it was 14 games.
Yeah.
So, again, guys, also taking the fact that we actually added a game this year in the NFL. They added a game this year, so we're 17 games.
Yep.
So, just for the fact that he's not gonna, in my opinion, if he's never had a full year every game, it's not gonna happen now. Not 4 years into the league, it's not gonna happen now.
I don't think so either, and I think even though Madison I think he had 90 attempts still last year.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna play into the fact a little bit more because they might baby Cook. They know that he can't play a full season. The guy's injured every year. Who knows? They might start, taking him out of certain scenarios and throwing Madison in there now that Madison's got a year underneath his belt. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Cook. I'd rather gamble on a running back like Aaron Jones or Chubb or someone like that has that chance that I know stays healthy, that is going to play all year. I got a better chance of them hitting one of those games that Cook's sitting out.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. And it's kind of tough because there's a few quarterbacks on that list that are kind of, to me, when I look at the list, there's quarterback, or sorry, I keep saying quarterbacks, running backs that can be easily top 5.
There's so many.
But I'm not putting them top 5 just based to injuries due to the way that the team is. Saquon Barkley, he's one. And we know, guys, the guy, the numbers he's put up, especially on a bad team, phenomenal. Again, last year, that serious injury, didn't even play. That was what game was that last year? Was that first?
That was
game?
early.
That was like in the first 3 games for him. Took him out for the entire year. The guy is built like a freaking truck. He's another one of those built like a truck running backs. I don't know. There was like a meme of like his legs next to the Deion Lewis's legs.
Yes.
Like it was just like it was insane. He's built. The guy, even on a bad team, his first couple years put up insane numbers. I like Saquon Barkley.
I like him. I like him too because he's the only weapon over there.
Yeah,
he's got to do something for fantasy wise. He's gonna do something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I'm worried that they're gonna sit there and just stack the box on him, and I don't think they have enough weapons on the outside to back that box off. And he's nothing like AP was back in the day.
Yeah,
you could stack the box on AP, he'll get around it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll draft him, but I don't know where I'd put him, man. He's definitely past 10. I think there's 10 other running backs I'd grab over him.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So when I look at the list, Zeke, I know you're a Cowboys fan. Where are you putting Zeke at on your lists? I have him after I'm looking at stats. I did a thorough look. I have him 6.
I'd be right around 5 or 6. I would. I don't have my list. I haven't thought about it a whole lot because I didn't prep as much as I should have. Busy with kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But Zeke's 5 or 6. Too much of that offense relies solely on Dak.
Yeah,
it does. If he has a great year, Zeke's going to have a tremendous year.
Yeah, and to that point, I think that Dak is. We see it from like the talks that Dak's coming in with the fire under his ass, and he's ready to come back, and he just wants to play. And I think that this fire that he's bringing to this team, we've seen what happened to that team last year when Dak went down.
It went to there was nothing.
Yeah,
And your guys' starting quarterback didn't do that good for us last year.
That is true. QB number 2. I don't know why he's number 1, but that the team kind of went down once Dak, and you could see it on the field. You could see it on their faces once Dak went down.
Was just crushed.
It was crushed.
Yeah.
And now that he's back and he's got this fire that he's just bringing to the table, I think this boosts back Zeke back to his normal status.
I hope so. I really do because he was not running with any heart last year. You could just tell that he just kind of gave up.
Yeah.
And that's.
I'm gonna pull this up because a lot of people don't. Me talking with a lot of people about Ezekiel Elliott and his stats. I'm going to pull it up because they're actually really good stats, and I'm going to pull it on the screen for you guys so you guys can see this too. There we go. So we're looking at these are Ezekiel Elliott's stats coming into the 2016 season. Everybody really did have a lot of high hope on this guy. He was a phenomenal running back going into the NFL. But again, his very first year, 1,631 yards, 15 touchdowns. That is very good. I do think that doesn't Zeke have and I wouldn't say a problem, but he is known for fumbling just a little bit.
Last year, he had a huge problem.
Yeah. So you take into account last year with the fumbles, but still, 1631 rookie year, 15 touchdowns. We're talking about that's more rushing yards than Alvin Kamara in any of his years. Almost any of the last year, that more rushing yards than Dalvin Cook's best year at 1557. So that's a great year. That was just his rookie year. He hasn't matched that again yet, but. The year after that, just missed 1,000 yards. If we're looking at that right there,
he only played 1,000 games. I think that's the year. Remember, he was suspended for those 6 games.
Oh yeah. Because if you look at that, in the first year, 322 attempts. Then the next year, 242. So yeah, just missed 1,000 yards. Again, you can see the average maybe slipped a little bit to a 4.1 with 7 touchdowns, but then he came right back, bounced back, 304 attempts with 1,434 yards, 6 touchdowns.
And 560 yards receiving.
Yeah, receiving. Year too. Yeah, the receiving, you still put that up there. And then the 2019, 1357 with 12 touchdowns, and then 420 receiving with 2 touchdowns. So we're still talking about 14 touchdown year. And then last year, obviously, everybody, as we know, had the fall a little bit of, I don't want to say the fall of Zeke. I want to say the fall of Dallas as a whole, sort of.
It was. It was. That's exactly what it was. You know what's blowing my mind right now, though?
What?
He's got, because Zeke is known as one. He has been known as one of the elite running backs, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if it's just because he's on Dallas's team, because the fan base and everything. But if you look, his touchdowns 15, 7, 6, 12, 6. He's only had two seasons over 10 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. For a guy his body size, he's getting the goal line rushes, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Tony Pollard's definitely not getting goal line rushes
No.
over him.
No, not over him.
No. So probably should be up there definitely more in tight end or touchdowns for sure.
Yeah.
But again, the yards we're talking about, it almost seems like he's going to average at least 1,200 a year. It's something you want to look at in a running back with his rushing. And as you guys seen, he's receiving also 400 to 500 yards a year with a few touchdowns sprinkled in there receiving.
Right.
Touchdowns need to go up a little bit more for Zeke, which is that, and that's probably why for me I would put him at 6.
Yeah. I'm not arguing that at all.
Yeah. So still decent stats there. So when we're gonna getting past Zeke at 6 there, let me look at the next up in line for me. I'm gonna probably say, and this is, I actually kind of jumble right here a little bit because I was for sure going into the season saying Jonathan Taylor. The Colts have the best. They're saying the best offensive line in the entire league. We've seen what offensive lines can just do for running backs. That was Zeke when he first joined the league.
Yep.
The Cowboys had the best offensive line.
Yep.
Anybody on that Cowboys offensive line,
Anybody could have ran through that hole.
me and you could have got. We could have got a couple hundred yards that year. That offensive line's insane. But we're talking about the Colts. They're saying that has one of the best. We know that over there, the Quentin Nelson. They're saying he's going to probably be one of the best linemen in the history almost. Yep. They're just a nasty offensive line. So when you talk about Jonathan Taylor, I want to put him at my 7. But the reason I have a hard time putting him at my 7 is because they got 3 running backs.
They're loaded back there.
Yeah.
The
Marlon Mack just came back last week, and they're saying he's healthy.
Got Hines.
Naeem Hines. Naeem Hines is more of a receiving running back, but you do have.
He still takes away. He's still on the field taking away opportunities for him.
He's taking away opportunities, and then Marlon Mack, who was, you guys remember, he was a starting running back just 2 years ago for the Colts until Jonathan Taylor came in last year. Marlon Mack was supposed to be their guy, so it's hard to say top 5 with Jonathan Taylor. I have almost a hard time saying 7 exactly. I do say Chubb. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say Chubb goes over Taylor for me.
Yeah, I like that. I do.
I am going to say Chubb goes over Taylor. Chubb is, even with Hunt over there, we've seen what he does. I think that the Browns need to be a rushing team. They have a decent they're a team that has a decent defense. I think a little bit better than mediocre.
I think so too. I like their defense.
Run their defense and just run the ball down people's throats. They got 2 people that could easily do that.
Yep.
Chubb and
absolutely.
Hunt. And Chubb obviously over there is a starter. Bigger than Hunt, and I think Chubb has received a little bit, but Hunt is the primary receiver over there as a running back.
Right.
But yeah, Chubb, I'm putting him over. He's my 7.
Yeah, no, I like Chubb a lot. I really do. He's one that I'll definitely be eyeing Jerry.
Yeah. There you go. You heard it here first, Jerry. At 9. So Chubb at 7, Jonathan Taylor at 8. 9. Man, super hard here. We're talking about left on the list right now.
Who are you going between right now?
Yeah, I was going to say left on the list. I'm going, it jumbled between Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, Austin Eckler. And I want to talk about 3 of those guys right there a little bit because you have Aaron Jones, guys. Obviously, he's produced, right? He decent numbers, has touchdowns. A.J. Dillon.
I showed you that picture.
Yeah.
And I started telling you about him. This guy is a freaking monster. I don't know if, dude.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see A.J. Dillon really start taking more into Aaron Jones's carries this year for sure.
Yeah, A.J. Dillon, he's not starting the year. Obviously, they're sticking with Aaron Jones as their starting running back going into the year.
Yes.
And he's produced. So, like, he's produced like a starting running back. But this A.J. Dillon guy, guys, I'm gonna try to look up this picture for you guys real quick. There's a picture of Dillon standing next to Aaron Jones, and it's funny. I gotta see if I can pull this up here.
Just type in A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones.
There goes. It
Yeah, see,
right
everyone's. Look at that, dude.
I'm pulling it up for you guys here. Hold on.
Look at the calves on him, dude.
Here we go, you guys. Look at and this is something that you want to also look at when you're talking about football. This is AJ Dillon, the rookie right here, right? Rookie.
Yeah. Yep.
So look at this guy. This is actually what Saquon Barkley looks like right now.
Right.
And then this is your starter over here, Aaron Jones. I mean, we're talking about. I mean, he's a little bit closer, but we're talking about almost a foot in height.
Yeah,
difference.
Dude, it's crazy.
But look
man.
at this, dude. Look at those.
The muscle on him.
It's just
dude.
the size difference. Is Dylan gonna take over by the end of the year? Who knows? A lot of people are really high on Dylan. If you listen to a lot of these professional analysts, they're talking about.
It's going to be 50-50 by the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure that they're talking about Dylan maybe even being able
Taking
to win
over.
people leagues if Dylan takes over.
Oh yeah.
So-
I could definitely see that.
Every year there's that person.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those sleepers that you want to draft later, in my opinion.
Yeah. So that's a tough
That's
one.
just
So,
crazy.
so like I have a hard time putting Aaron Jones exactly. It's hard. So that's why I'm going between Aaron Jones and Eckler.
Who's Eckler got behind him? Exactly.
The Melvin
That's why
Gordon's
I'm grabbing
gone.
Eckler.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon.
I'm
Not there.
grabbing Eckler over Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Eckler, in my opinion, definitely is.
I think
over
he's going to
Aaron
get more
Jones.
opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm going him for sure.
A lot of people are really high on Antonio Gibson. I'm not set on Antonio Gibson 100% just yet. Again, I'm looking at the rankings from the professionals.
Yep,
They
that's
have
what
him
I'm
at
doing.
12,
Yeah.
11, 10, 12. So I need to see. I'm not 100% a huge team or a fan of Washington.
No.
I'm not that I'm not a fan, but I'm not high on Washington at all.
They got Fitz now.
Yeah, they do have the Fitz magic is over there. I'm just not. I need their defense phenomenal.
Yes.
And if you want to, and this is another team, I think that has to be a defensive, rushing team. If they really want to go with if Antonio Gibson's the guy, I think that they still have like three. They've been a 3 running back
I
system.
thought they still had a couple different. Yeah.
They've been a 3 running back system for a little bit here. So. I need to see a little bit to put him in my top 10, so I think he does fall out of there. I think I even go Aaron Jones over him, honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would. I'd go Aaron Jones over him.
Real quick, we're gonna go into this, guys. I do want to talk. That was at least 10 running backs. We went pretty thorough into that. Teams that have multiple quarterbacks, or multiple running back systems. Remember this: the Colts with Jonathan Taylor, Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines. They're one of the only ones that are running a 3 running back system right now, exactly. Right. But we have Cleveland with Chubb and Hunt.
Yep.
Raiders, don't forget, got Kenyon Drake over the offseason. So the Raiders do have Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. Cardinals have Chase Edmonds, who is supposed to be their starter, but they do have James Conner.
Yeah.
James Conner from the Steelers. They ended up getting James Conner from the Steelers last year. And then kind of like the biggest question to me, what happened with Jacksonville over the season. James Robinson last year produced top 5 running back stats.
Yeah.
And then
They go on, then they draft their first round.
yeah, Etienne is his name, James the Travis Etienne.
Yeah, why? What are they doing?
And they're saying that he's going to start over James Robinson. Got me kind of mind blown there. I'm not 100%
I don't
sure.
get it. Yeah.
But again, that alters my picks on James Robinson. If Etienne wasn't there and they weren't saying he was a starting running back going into the season, I'm probably saying James Robinson is easily my top, at least for sure, 15 after the numbers he did last year.
Yeah, for sure.
But he falls. Joe Mixon.
I don't understand what they're doing over there. I don't. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, Jacksonville's kind of seemed like they've been a mess for a little bit here.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens over there with Lawrence.
Yeah, I don't know. Man.
So yeah, we got that. That's what I got as far as like running backs are concerned. Now, I'm not, guys. I'll just tell you real quick. I do want to talk some sleepers and some busts here real fast before we get out of the running backs. My busts again. Oh, also Baltimore. Baltimore has a couple running backs over there. I know J.K.
Dobbins
Dobbins
is gonna take that over, dude.
They got
That's
Gus
Dobbins.
Edwards. Yeah. So I know Dobbins. They're saying clear cut number 1.
I'm all in on Dobbins.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They got to have something over there, dude. They do.
Yeah. I mean, they got to produce somewhere, and
Right.
they're just a rushing team, and Dobbins is there if he's there for sure. But again, that's another team that does have multiple running backs. They don't throw Gus Edwards in there a whole lot, but he does still get play taken away.
Right.
But that's gonna happen to every running back. You gotta keep that in mind. Every running back does have a backup. A running back can't go out there and put 378 attempts like a Derrick Henry.
No.
Let's see, bust-wise. You know what? And I'm going to put him as a bust because they have him pretty high on the list. I don't like Joe Mixon.
Yeah, look, that's who I was pointing to.
Yeah, Joe Mixon. I'm not a huge fan of Joe Mixon.
No.
Oh man, it's kind of weird there. Aaron Jones. I'm going to say Aaron Jones is going to be my bust.
I think so because I don't think he's a top 6 or 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and that's where everyone's got him ranked.
Yeah. I'm putting Aaron Jones as a bust too. I think that Dylan, at some point next year, he's going to take it over. Well, when you guys are 3-time champions like the Punishers, are you know what the hell he's doing? He's saying that.
That was before I entered the league, though, right? This was ages ago, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
When he, I don't think he's won since I've been there.
I for sure wasn't in there when he was.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I mean, he's a Pittsburgh fan, right? Bringing up the past. And all
that. Oh man, Jared.
Yeah, I'm starting it already, bud.
Yeah, you better watch it.
Who's your sleepers? Running back.
Sleepers. I kind of, I do want to say Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yep. That's the number 1 on my list.
They have him at 15. On some of one of the professionals has him at 20 ranked on the lists that I'm looking at, and so I'm going Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a sleeper.
Yep.
Again, Kansas City is just such a high octane offense. It's hard to deny what Kansas City does.
The cool thing is too, Andy Reid. If you look at all his running backs,
yeah,
the first year they don't do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
That second year is when they start to understand Andy Reid's offense, and that's when they break out.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders did it. There was just a whole bunch. I can't think right now, but I'm telling you, he's gonna have a breakout year this year.
Yeah,
he's gonna.
Yeah, and guys, I'm setting aside my fandom here, but I do want to say I think that, and the reason I'm saying he's going to be breakout, I want to say he's going to be a sleeper is Montgomery. They have him on most lists at 25 ranked running back.
Yeah, I got.
Look at the stats last year. It would show first couple games is not that good, but the guy ended phenomenal at the end of the year, and the thing with the Bears, unfortunately, is we lost defense throughout the year. And for me, the biggest thing for me growing up was the Bears have always been a defensive team. And so with the defense that they had, it would have been fun to watch a defensive and then a rushing attack team. That's what I was kind of hoping from with the Bears. It's never happened, but I do think that Montgomery is going to be a sleeper.
After the bye week, he just went off.
Yeah, after the bye week happened, and he was going off with an insanely bad offensive line.
Yeah.
Insanely bad. We're talking about the offensive line. Every single piece on that offensive line was moved around, and no starters from the beginning of the year were on that team on the offensive line when he started going off. So I think that with a better put together team, they just picked up that offensive lineman from Philly.
Yep.
9-time Pro Bowl player. He's a little bit older in his league, but again, he's going to bring that factor to the offensive lineman, the knowledge. He's going to still be playing, it looks like. I think that's good for Montgomery. He's going to help out Montgomery a little bit in that aspect. So I want to say Montgomery's a sleeper. Is there any that you wanted to talk about?
Let's see. So you already touched on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I really like him. I think Swift is going to be a bust.
Yeah.
I don't like that team at all this year.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm just going through a couple of these guys. Who's over at the Rams? Who do they got? Henderson over there?
Darrell
Because
Henderson.
now that Cam Akers is out, man, I was so excited to see that guy this year too.
Akers was going to be a top 5 or top 15 potential talk about for sure, in my opinion. But now they got Darrell Henderson, and if you want to talk about a starting running back in the league, Darrell Henderson, guys, he's had plenty. In my opinion, he's already had quite a bit of time starting.
Yep.
He's had his games starting for the Rams in the last few years here, and he's never produced starting running back numbers. He's never had a phenomenal game. I've never seen. I'm not saying he has to have a phenomenal game to be, but like I don't see Darrell Henderson being a starting running back in this league, and
I don't either.
It kind of hurts a little bit, that team, with Darrell Henderson being their starting running back. So
yes.
I want to say he's a bust because a lot of people are putting him over 15 ranked.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at the top. I'm like, I don't know about that. Let's see, Henderson, Jacobs, Montgomery. And Montgomery's definitely higher than 20 on my list.
Najee Harris, we don't really know what's going to go on with them.
I don't either, but man, that dude looked good.
Yeah, he does. He does look good.
Looks awesome.
I'm excited to see what they do with him. He looks pretty good. Miles Sanders.
I'm not a fan of any Eagles. I don't know what it is. Well, I do. I'm a Cowboys fan.
Cowboys fan.
I just don't like the Eagles.
Yeah. And then one, like he kind of slips. I kind of keep my eye on him almost every year. I watch it. He's not producing, but again, they've always had like a 3 running back system over there too. Is Chris Carson?
Yep.
From the Seahawks.
Yep.
I've kind of liked him for a while. I've always been pretty high on Carson. Not high, but I've always
he produces
watched him.
every year though.
Yeah,
and he does. He's one that goes underneath my radar every year. I never even think about him.
I think that Carson, in my opinion, is a solid number 2 running back for you if you were running a 2 running back league. Most leagues are.
Yep.
But I'm at least flex, guys. I don't know if you want to talk about flex. I haven't brought up flex at all in this show yet, but I would put Carson flex probably.
Yeah, for
depending
sure.
on what you got at running back, for sure. So those are some sleepers, some busts for you guys as far as running backs. I know a lot of people wanted to hit the running backs pretty hard.
Yeah.
So you ready to move on to the receivers?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So like receivers, I looked at this guys and I went through it. There's so many receivers this year. It's insane.
The last couple of years has produced some amazing athletes at receiver.
Yeah, when I looked at the stats yesterday, and I just eyeballing it really quick, easily there's 30 running backs on the list that should be starting, no doubt, on a fantasy team.
Yeah.
So if you're running a 10-person team, almost every single one of those, I don't have a problem really. If some leagues run 3 receiver sets, and we do, we run a 3 receiver set in our league. So with 30 receivers that should be starting for sure, I think you're looking pretty decent here. I looked 15 stud receivers for sure.
Yeah.
When you're looking at stats wise, you got 15 that for sure, no matter what, should be started every single week in and week out.
The thing is though, after the top 3,
yeah, so
you have 27 that's on the same level.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Let me pull up this list, and guys, I'll pull up the list that I'm looking at for you guys to see. That way we can talk about it real quick. You guys don't have to look at my face this whole entire time. I'll show you guys a list that I'm looking at as far as like the rankings go. So this is what I'm looking at. This is ESPN's guide, and this is non-PPR wide receiver ranks. This is what I'm looking at. So Devontae Adams, my opinion for sure, 100% number 1 receiver in the league. And you know what? It's kind of hard to say for sure because Tyreek Hill.
Him and Hill, in my opinion, it doesn't matter. You can't go wrong with either one.
Yeah.
I can't say one's better than the other.
Yeah. You know what? It's really weird. I do think that there's a top 4. There's a tier list to run the receivers this year too. And I do put 4 in there at my top 1 tier. And it is the 1, 2, 3, 4 that you see there.
I'm assuming Adams, Hill, because we're looking at different lists. I'm assuming Adams, Hill, Hopkins, and Diggs.
You know what? Metcalf.
Metcalf
Hopkins.
Instead of Hopkins?
Hopkins easily number 5. So I'll put 5 in my tier 1.
Yeah.
So Calvin Ridley, guys, I know you see him right there in tier 5 at 5. He drops down to 6 for me. Calvin Ridley, very high on him too. Don't get me wrong. Easily probably could be top 5 at the end of the year. Matt Ryan slings that freaking ball.
Yes, every day. They don't have a defense.
Yeah.
He's got
and they lost Julio Jones, so Calvin Ridley is the for sure, and I think he might be one of the only receivers over there right now.
Yes.
They got that the Pitts over there, tight end. I think he's gonna have a great season. We'll get into that, but Calvin Ridley.
Their number 2 is Russell Gage.
Yeah, no way. That's another slant receiver number 3.
Gosh, that team's hurting too. Look at their running backs. Mike Davis is their starting running back, dude. Holy crap!
Yikes. So Calvin Ridley, he most likely 100% will be their top 6, top 5 receiver at the end of the year. I'm pretty safe with saying that. If you look at that, the 6 they have him ranked careerable, and then the other 3 have him at 5. So I have him at 6, and Hopkins moves up to 5 for sure, and that's the tier 1 for me. And then I am going to put Calvin Ridley at tier 2.
Yeah,
just because
I am.
Last year was the only great season he had. I need to see more out of a Calvin Ridley. AJ Brown, how do you feel?
Dude, I love AJ Brown, man.
Yeah.
And I know that Tannehill is going to have a hard time figuring out how to feed all of his weapons.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. But I still think AJ Brown is going to succeed again this year.
Yeah.
He was a killer for me last year. Keenan Allen's in the same ballpark as him.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
There's so many that's on that second tier.
Yeah, guys, like we're talking about. Listen to this, and this is why I say 15 for sure studs at receiver. I'm just gonna. We already named the top 5, right? So I'm just gonna AJ Brown, Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen, who's produced for years. So now we're talking about Mike Evans. Did I say Mike Evans? I'm not sure if I did. Mike Evans, but now we're talking, and then to me that's that tier, and then I hit a different tier who's still in top 15 is still really good. I'm looking at Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
CD Lamb.
CD.
Very excited for him.
Yes.
Again, guys, Dak slings the ball. And CD Lamb, I don't know if you guys have caught what he's been doing this offseason or even in, the practices. The guy is...
I'm so excited for him.
I can't wait to watch what this guy does.
He was my favorite last year.
Yeah.
Like, Cooper was like, I wasn't even looking at him anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on CD Lamb this year. We're looking at Robert Woods. We're DJ Moore. DJ Moore this year, by the way, is a sleeper for me.
Yeah.
DJ, and it's kind of funny. I say he's a sleeper. I think 2 years ago I said DJ Moore is going to be a sleeper for me too, and still didn't. But
Sam Darnold, I think, is going to have a new look on this, though. I really do. They're going to be all right, but I don't know, man. I just can't.
Yeah.
When we were talking running backs and that team, I just, I don't know. It's too risky for me.
You know who we still haven't brought up, and we've already talked about 15 receivers. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. There's so many receivers. I already brought up 15 receivers to you guys, but still have not mentioned Julio Jones.
Right.
Still have not mentioned Tyler Lockett, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper.
Yeah, dude, and you haven't even got into Deontay Johnson in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool over there. There's just so many.
So what I'm trying
Thielen?
Yeah.
How do we forget about that dude?
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say here is, in my opinion, just based off of there being so many receivers right now, I don't know if I'm going super hard into receivers in the beginning of drafts, at least starting drafts.
Right.
Obviously, you want to always get that tier 1 receiver, but with there being so many, if I'm being honest with you guys, this is my opinion, and Jerry, here you go. Here goes. I'm going heavily running backs. I'm going running backs hard.
Especially in our league, you have to because you don't know which one's going to pan out.
Yeah. And like as we said, there's not so many running backs. Realistically, I mean, we had a hard time picking who's going to be our number 5 on the ranks.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. That's where I was going to go with when we got to the receivers. Is there's so many right now. I named so many to you guys. I'm not going to go through stats just because there's so many. But I'm not. I would almost feel more comfortable picking 2 running backs off the bat than picking a receiver in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Depending on how the draft.
Just because of what Hill can do.
Yeah.
Where I'm at, because I'm late in the first round, the big boys are going to be gone. Him getting that 200 yards is a week changer. It is. That's winning you money that week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In my dad's league.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I'm gonna go top 5, if you're asking me, I'm going Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Metcalf, and Hopkins.
Yeah, I like that.
That's my top 5. And then if I'm gonna go after that, it's gonna be I will go Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown. And then every single position I do get stuck right here. Do you do a Keenan Allen?
Yeah.
Guys, this year, whether get at me. My bust this year is Mike Evans. When we're looking at receivers, my bust this year, Mike Evans.
He's my bust every year. He produces.
Well, the thing with his producing is he's kind of, in my opinion, one of the most inconsistent receivers. He will have a game where he gets 200 yards.
Yep.
200 plus yards. And then he has you don't see him for 2 whole games.
No.
Didn't he do that last year?
Yes.
He disappears doesn't even get a reception.
Yeah.
And then he'll come back in, a 200 plus yard game, 150 yard plus game, but then he's off the board again.
Yeah.
So it's like he's very inconsistent. And when I'm looking at, especially when it comes to a receiver, I'm looking at somebody who's going to be a consistent. How often I want a receiver that's going to have over 100 yards at least 5-6 games a year.
Yeah.
And when you want to look at consistency of a receiver that has that kind of stat, at least in our league, I'm looking at, and believe it or not, Allen Robinson.
Yep.
We're looking at Stephon Diggs. I'm looking at somebody that's consistently every single game is going to be there. Mike Evans is not there for that reason. Bust. Also, we're talking about guys. I know we looked at that stat at the beginning of the show with Tom Brady. Again, it's just another year older. God, and it sucks to say that. We've been saying that for 5 years.
That's what I'm saying. He's going down this year. Dude, he keeps doing it every year.
Until he proves that he can't. I'm going to always say that's not going to happen, but you got to put it into factors. You got to, especially when you're talking about people are picking Mike Evans in the top 2 rounds.
Are they really?
Top 3 rounds. When I looked at get him out of here. Did it play the alert, Austin? I hope it played the alert. Did you hear it? So when you're looking at the Mike Evans, when I'm looking at professionals, they're grading their top 5 ranks, and with the way that they place them, Mike Evans has been there.
Yeah.
Along with that, so I'm not high on Mike Evans. It's a bust for me. So I actually don't want to pick him at all. Going on from him, another. You got any sleepers, busts, stuff that you're not?
I like Higgins. I like Higgins this year.
T. Higgins.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
I think these guys are going to be...
You know what? He was also in the trade that you gave me last year when we did that big trade.
Yeah.
Brandon Ayuk was the number 3 person in that trade.
Right. You're right. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to have I think he's going to take over Sutton's role.
Yeah, there you go, Austin. I know you're really high on Jerry Jeudy too.
Yep.
No? Dang. Okay, I'll have to fix that for the next show. Sorry about that. Get him out of here. There you go. I got it for you. So yeah, I there's so many receivers that we can look at.
Yeah.
Those are my sleepers, busts. Kenny Galladay, that's who I was thinking about at the Detroit. They had Marvin Lewis and Kenny Galladay over there for Stafford, but now he's over at the Giants.
Yep.
It's another weapon for Daniel Jones, but I am not really into the Giants. They got to show me something. I'm not really into the whole Giants situation over there. No, you know what? I do have another sleeper. He was my sleeper last year again. I really like Cortland Sutton.
Yeah?
Yeah, the only reason it kind of is like, is the whole quarterback situation over there.
Locke's been looking decent in preseason, man.
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would like to say Cortland Sutton is another sleeper for me. Easily.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That Hamler, too. There's just... If Locke could be consistent, that team of wide receivers is so young. Even their tight end, Fant. I like Fant.
Yeah, Fant.
Yeah. They could really do something.
Yeah. So, I gave you 2 sleepers. I'll give you 2 busts, and I'm going to go with a tough one here. If I'm looking at list from these professionals, just based on how high they have him ranked, they have him at number 9. I will go with a bust of Terry McLaurin.
Oh.
I'm giving you a tough bust there.
I don't know, man. He's got Fitzpatrick now.
I know, but is that...
You know what he's going to do? He's just going to sling that rock.
Yeah.
All year.
Yeah, but are we talking about... Are we sitting here talking about Mike Evans type of slinging where he's going to get that 150-yard game and then not be seen for another 2 games?
Yeah, you're right. They could definitely fall into that.
We're talking about Fitzmagic. It could be his breakout season. Again, Fitzmagic, he's not... I don't think he's a career quarterback, at least this point anymore in his career. He's at the end of his career, probably, I would assume. The guy has jumped from team to team for how many years now? 10 years for sure.
Right.
And he's not the answer over there for Washington, is what I'm trying to say.
No, he's just a fill-in guy for this year. And
So even if McLaurin has a breakout season, we would have to see what he gets as far as a quarterback going forward. But yeah, that's my tough bust I'll give you a tough one, and that's my tough one there. And that's the professionals have him ranked at 9 on the list.
Yeah, that's up there.
I think I'm taking Keenan Allen over him. I'm taking Keenan Allen over McLaurin.
Yeah, I am too. Just because I like Herbert.
Yeah, I'm pretty high on the Chargers, as you guys have heard so far this show. Let's see here. You want to get over to the tight ends, or you want to talk about receivers anymore?
It's just I'm just looking at the list. There's just so much talent, dude. It is ridiculous.
It's deep. Even when you get past 30, I'm gonna look, guys. I'm gonna read you the top 5 receivers that they have ranked after 30 right here. Juju Smith, Robbie Anderson, Deebo Samuel, DJ Chark, and Jerry Jeudy. I'll even go further than that. Brandon Cooks, Michael Thomas, Will Fuller, Michael Gallup, Tyler Boyd. Guys, the receivers are deep this year.
Yeah.
It's deep. We didn't even bring up the Chase Claypool, Odell Beckham.
No.
I'm not high on Odell this year, by the way.
No.
I know in the past years people have had him top 10 receivers.
Yeah. No.
No way. I don't even know if I want to even have him at.
I'm going Landry over him.
Yeah, I'm going Landry.
I'm pretty sure everyone agrees with that, but my list has them like 20 apart.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, that's the receiver set for me. There's just so much that it's kind of hard to really get into. I just would recommend, in my opinion, I'm not going. Obviously, if you're first round pick and you're like 7, 8, you're probably at that point being forced to pick a top tier receiver at that point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you're definitely, in my opinion, not taking one of those receivers top 3 or 4 picks, I would assume.
No.
And so while we're moving over to tight ends and we're talking about receivers in a way, Kelsey, when you look at the boards on every single analyst's board, I've done so many mock drafts already. Kelsey is going at 4 or 5 in drafts. Picks.
Really? First round?
Yeah, he's going 4th or 5th pick in a lot of these drafts, mock drafts. A lot of these analysts, when you look at their mocks that they put together, like the analysts do. So if you guys look at it on ESPN, the analysts will put actually together a top 5 rounds of what they would actually do. Kelsey's number 4 pick, 5 pick on their list.
That's crazy, man. He's worth it, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're talking about, this is a tight end that's actually producing numbers. You know what? I'm going to pull this up.
You're talking a position that doesn't normally score a lot of points.
Yeah.
And when you get someone like that that's scoring a bunch of points, that's extra points.
I'm going to pull the stats up and show you guys this because he's producing insane numbers for a tight end. Because I've been trying to tell people for a while now, this might be the best tight end in history, in my opinion. And I know Gronk had like a 20 touchdown season or something, a 17 touchdown season. Consistently over the years, because Kelsey's actually been in there for a little bit. I have Kelsey better than Gronkowski in his prime. Yeah. I think Kelsey might be the best tight end in my opinion of all time.
5 straight 1,000+ yards.
So let me pull up the stat for you guys so you guys can see what I'm looking at here too again. This is what we're looking at when we're looking at tight ends here, or with Kelsey. He's been in the league since 2004, technically stats wise 2014. His first year 862 yards, 5 touchdowns. Next year same thing, 875, 5.
Now the crazy thing is you're sitting there talking about those yards, but when you were talking about which tight end or wide receiver was it? Flip back in your notes real quick. I want to show you something.
Which one do you want me to talk about?
We were just talking about the tight ends, right?
Yeah, tight ends.
So when you're talking right here, right?
This is Mark Andrews.
Yeah, so Andrews, right? So even Kelsey's second year playing, he already did more yards than Andrews.
Yeah, technically his actual, at least here, I don't know why, but analytical wise, he has more yards than Mark Andrews has ever had in his worst year.
Right. Yeah.
He has more yards than Andrews' best year. Yeah. So, and that's by like 10 yards literally, because he has 862 here, and Andrews' best year was 852.
Right.
So, but if you guys look at the stats going forward, 11-25, 10-38, 13-36, 12-29, 14-16. Touchdowns in the last 3 years alone. I mean, if you want to include 4 years, he got 8 in 2017. To me, in a tight end, you do want 8 touchdowns and above if you're looking at a top tier tight end. And again, the Chiefs, Mahomes. I feel like Kelsey is Mahomes' go-to target, and I'm very. He's producing better than most. If you're looking consistent wise, that's better than most receivers in the league.
Yeah.
So, but to that fact, with him going at like I said, he's going at 4 in most professional leagues, these analytic leagues. If he's going at 4, why is he going over? He's going to be going over.
There's so many.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. Yeah. That's what I was trying to think of. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. People were picking Kelsey over them too. Do you do that?
No, dude. You know what? It depends what league you play.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking at it that way, PPR too. Obviously, Kelsey is getting 10 receptions a game average. I think it was.
Yeah.
So, I just in our league it's huge because tight ends getting that amount of yards is actually pretty. That's big points.
Most of the time, you're getting 6 points out of your tight end or 0 in our league. Because how many tight ends average over 75 yards receiving a game?
Yeah,
not many.
No. So to that fact, with me saying Kelsey is going in the first round, I do think Kelsey. If in my opinion, if it was my way, Kelsey should be the only tight end drafted in the first 3 rounds. And I know a lot of people will probably. That's actually, it's funny. My tight end list from a couple days ago on TikTok was actually the most argued about TikTok that I've had.
Really,
I got a lot of stats for you guys on this one because people came at me with the tight ends, which is wild because we're talking about tight ends here. But so Kelsey again, I agree. Maybe first, second round for sure.
Yeah.
Pick him. Go ahead. because he's going to be realistically, as you guys will see going forward here, he's going to be probably the only tight end you should for sure 100% pick no matter what in the first 3 rounds.
Even in my dad's league where it's a 2 quarterback league.
Yeah.
If he doesn't go end of first round, I'll be surprised.
Oh yeah.
I will. I'll be surprised if he's not. Yeah.
I bet you he goes by 8. I think Kelsey's gone by 8 in our league.
7. When did I take Kittle last year?
Yeah, you had Kittle. You had third round. You said
third
right.
Round,
third round. You had Kittle.
Yep, early 3rd round.
So, guys, speaking to that effect, when we're talking about tight ends, I got a couple stats here because I did a lot more diving on tight ends last year. You ain't coming at me, guys. So, on the list, I'm going to go 2 and 3. So, Darren Waller on a lot of these professionals is number 2 on the list, right? So, Darren Waller has had 2 years in the league. 2009, or no, he's had 5 years, guys. His first 3 years did not produce more than 100 yards in each of those years. If you guys want to look at the stats. His first, second, and third year, not one of those years did he get over 100 yards receiving. So, to that effect alone, saying that a tight end should be picked in the first 3 rounds, Darren Waller, I'm putting into account that this guy didn't just break out until his last 2 years here, with being 5 years into the league already. Again, but last year, if you want to look at it, he had 90 receptions in 2019, 1145 yards, only 3 touchdowns. Again, top tight end in the league, 3 touchdowns, worrisome. I don't like that. And then last year, you want to look at his last year, it was actually a decent year for a tight end. We're looking at 107 receptions with 1196 yards and 9 touchdowns. Got over the 8 touchdowns that I like to see from a tight end, but 1196, that's still good as a tight end. But to say that he should be drafted before even 10 of those receivers were looking at it on the board is wild to me.
Yeah, no. I'm not. No. There's no one else on Kelsey's level.
No. Yeah,
it's Kelsey, and then, okay, I can wait and find someone else after.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm not going Waller or Kittle. It's hard to watch them sitting there at 3, 4, but I think that those two should be going for 5th round, maybe even.
Yeah.
I don't think there's plenty. You're still looking at running backs. Again, for us, we're doing a 2 quarterback league, so quarterbacks are going to go off our board very fast too because the points, the bonuses system for us on that quarterback league that I told you guys about is huge. So quarterbacks go when we're already looking at end of the pack quarterbacks by 3rd round for sure in that league. So, but again, you still have all these running backs, guys. The running backs are so low. There's so many running backs that are worth getting early. And obviously, as I said, there's so many receivers, which also still backs up the fact that a tight end should not be picked until at least 5th round past Kelsey. Because when you want to look at Kittle, which is, in my opinion, he's my 2nd favorite player in the league. Yeah. Kittle, first season, 515 yards, only 2 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
In 2018, 88 receptions, 1377 with 5 touchdowns. Good year. Very good year for a tight end. 2019, 85 receptions, 1053 yards, 5 touchdowns. If you guys are seeing it here, only 5 touchdowns in his 2 biggest years. I want a tight end doing better than if I'm going to go that high. I want more than 5 touchdowns out of him.
Yep, I agree.
And then his last year, obviously, as we know, it was injury plagued. Again, put that into account. Yep. Injury plagued year, only ended up with 634 yards with 2 touchdowns. So for career, we're talking guys are taking Kittle in the 2nd or 3rd round. We're taking a tight end that all career through 4 years it doesn't even have. He's got 12 touchdowns through a 4-year career. You're taking him.
That's rough, man. You're taking him over so many talented and
receivers
that produce.
Yeah,
way more than that.
So guys, like I'm just trying to give you guys the facts. Like that's pretty serious. 12. There's tight ends that are getting 12 touchdowns in a year. We're talking about Kittle only got 12 through 4 years of his time.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
That's pretty tough. He does have a 1377 yard season out of a tight end. That is phenomenal. But again, injury plagues too. So. And plus, do we really even know who the quarterback 100% is going into the season?
No, I was just showing you that earlier that he still hasn't even decided who he's starting yet.
Garoppolo, Trey Lance, who knows what it's going to be?
Yeah.
But Kittle will still always be there. I think that he is.
Kittle's that safety net for just like Tua's going to have his safety net, and quarterbacks like that.
Yeah,
he's going to be always there.
So. The one that people came at me about, and guys, I am so happy to have this stat for you guys right now. A lot of people came at me about Hockenson. They're like, oh, what about Hockenson? He's for sure top 5 tight end. Guys, Hawkinson, if you're picking him before round 9, 10, you're having serious issues.
Add me.
Guys, listen to the stats for Hawkinson. 2 years in the league, right? 2019 had 32 receptions only, 367 yards, 2 touchdowns. Last year, 67 receptions, 723 yards with only 6 touchdowns. Didn't even hit the touchdowns that I like to see out of a tight end, and didn't even hit 750 yards receiving. I know we're talking about tight ends; they don't get a whole ton of yards receiving, right? But guys, I'm just trying to give you a position that shouldn't be getting picked as early as they really are. No. And you know, I know that people see the train of positions they start going, right? It happens with defense and kicker too. Once people see the top tier defense go, now everybody gets on this train. Let's go defense. See a kicker go, guys.
You know what?
Kicker.
I did that last year. Kelsey went. I'm like, oh, Kittle.
Yeah.
Right
So
next, so.
It's scary to see because there's a tier list, right? So there's the tier list. You're scared to not be a part of the tier list once it starts going. I understand that, but in my opinion, tight ends, guys, wait until round 5.
You know what? I can see some hype though around Hawkinson, just because they switched it up now. Goff's over there.
Yeah,
right? Goff loves his tight ends.
Yeah, but he's losing. He had Stafford.
Right. Yeah.
I think Stafford is more of a slinger than Goff.
No, he is, but Goff checks down a lot more.
Yeah.
How many times did you see Goff airing it out like Stafford does?
Yeah.
You don't.
No.
You know what I mean? He checks it down a lot more. And they have their best wide receivers, Perryman.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So maybe that's why they got him ranked so high, because he's the only option over there. I don't know, but yeah, I'm still not drafting him that high.
Yeah, no. So also another stat I wanted to bring up at number 4 on almost every single rank that I've read. Mark Andrews sits pretty tough almost on every single rank except 4. Guys, we're talking about he produced a tight end. Let me just read you some stats. 2018, he came into the season 550 yards that year with 3 touchdowns. Rookie year, tight end. That's producible, right?
That's probably average.
The tight end is average, is what I'm thinking for most tight ends along the board. Once you get past the top 4 running back or tight ends, that's what the average kind of is for tight ends.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of people want to jump on the train of getting those top 3 tight ends. I get it. I just think it's a big mistake. It could be a big mistake. But his best year was in 2019 with 850 yards with 10 touchdowns. Great touchdowns. And then last year, he only had 7 touchdowns and 701 yards. He is the number 1 receiver over there for Baltimore. I know he's a tight end, and they have Hollywood Brown. A lot of people argue this fact. Andrews is the number 1 over there for he's the safety for Lamar Jackson. He's the number 1 over there for Lamar Jackson. But again, he's not producing. Guys, I'm saying those are good numbers for a tight end. It's better than mediocre. But I don't want to be picking him in the top. Andrews to me is a
realistically.
7,
if I don't get Kelsey, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I think are all on the same level.
Yeah, they're all right there.
Yeah. Realistically, the most of the list is after Kelsey.
Yeah, let me pull up the tight end list real quick here, because there's I'll also give you my sleeper and my bust on tight ends. I love getting sleeper and bust, guys. Yeah, Pitts. That's another one I wanted to talk about. I am guys. I don't know if anybody's seen what Pitts did before. On my rankings, I have him at 5 for the fact that he's going over to Matt Ryan, who only has Calvin Ridley.
Right.
And Pitts is just a super freak athletic guy again, too.
And Ryan loves his tight ends.
Yes. I mean, look at the Tony Gonzalez.
Yes.
He showed his entire career that he likes his tight ends. So I'm very high on Pitts this year. I do think I'm pretty strict with putting him at 5, probably for sure 4 over Mark Andrews. We'll see. But because he's a rookie, I'm going to put him at 5 in my opinion. How do you feel about and so this is funny. So my sleeper, I have 2 sleepers this year.
I got 2 too.
I have a tough sleeper, because he's so far down on the list. A lot of people don't really like it. He's had a couple times. He's had quite a while to prove. But they have him. Where is he at? They even drop him they have him at 19 on the list. I want to say my sleeper could be Evan Ingram. If that guy was moved to another team where they're throwing to a tight end, Evan Ingram for
That'd
sure
be
is top
ridiculous.
10 tight end.
Yep.
So I want to say Evan Ingram will be one of my sleepers, and then another one for me for sure is Robert Tanyan.
Yep. He's one of them on my list. That definitely a sleeper. I actually like Gesicki this year.
Gesicki, yeah.
I do.
Well,
For Miami.
When that guy gets the ball, he almost looks like a receiver.
He does.
He's got because he's running down. They have him going in the number 1 slot.
Yep.
And he's just doing outs. He's just going, burning people.
He's got DB playing him, so he's gonna burn him. Yeah.
So I do like Gesicki over there. I think that he's gonna be better. They have him on here at 10. I see 11 on one of the ranks. So Gesicki, I like. Goddard. Guys, maybe I'm not like a big Philly fan or something over here. I'm not liking that over there. I'm not a big fan. Logan Thomas again, along with almost everybody else I've mentioned from Washington. I need to see just a little bit more to be talking anything about them really as far as like being up there in ranks. But as far as that, Gronkowski is another bust for me. I don't think last year he didn't have a phenomenal. He didn't have Gronkowski numbers that we're used to seeing.
Not worth drafting. I don't think. No.
But people are still drafting him based on the Gronkowski name.
Just because his name.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not doing that. If you want a tough bust reason from me, you know what, I'm gonna go Hawkinson. Just because I think he downgraded a quarterback.
Yeah. No, he absolutely did.
So, Hawkinson is... when I give you my bust and sleepers, by the way...
I'm going to do my bust with Fan.
Fan?
Yeah, I like him, but until Locke is consistent, he's not going to...
Yeah, Denver scares me over there with the quarterbacks. So, yeah, that's a good one. I like that. Who was your sleeper?
I had.
You said Gesicki.
And Tanyan, yep.
Tanyan, yeah, okay. So we agree on, Gesicki was, I didn't say him, but I do think he's another sleeper. Because those, like you said, I think those are like 6, 7, 8, 9 tight ends in a row right there.
Right. That can be right there on the same level. Yeah. Produce the same.
Yeah. Got to jump out. Moving jobs now. Great stream, guys. Have a good rest of it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks. So, and we're coming down to the end here a little bit. We're going to go over... I'll give you like some guys. I don't know if anybody really wants to go into kickers. I'm not kicker. If you want me to talk about it, kickers should not be picked until last round. Come on. Every single league that I've mock drafted somebody, and we're talking about a mock draft too. Yeah. You probably even shouldn't be picking a kicker in the mock draft.
No.
But they're taking them in 10. Round 10, they're taking kickers.
No, dude. Last round.
It's one of those things too. Somebody sees a kicker and it becomes a train.
Like even in my dad's league though. I ain't picking a kicker till like round 22.
Yeah. Kickers are actually big in our league too.
Yeah, and I'm still not. Yeah,
kickers can be pretty big in our league, but guys, again, the most I'm going to talk about with kickers, don't take them until the final round. Yeah. Realistically, almost any kicker is going to produce numbers that you'll be okay with.
The thing is, there's going to be 10 taken if you're in the normal league.
Yeah.
That's just so hard, man. I'm not taking a kicker until end.
Yeah, so we'll skip kickers for now. Maybe as the year goes on, we'll talk about it if you guys want to talk about it. From what I've from what I've reached out about with people, kickers care less. And then defenses, we can dive a little bit into it. Defenses changed just a little bit this year, but if you're looking at the top 5 from last year, it's kind of still the same from top 5 this year.
Yeah,
I'll pull up that page that way you guys can just see it real quick. Let me see here. Let me pull up the defenses. Washington. And here you go. Here's the list for defenses. We'll go over that real quick. Steelers, on my list, they have it number 1.
Really?
Ravens, Bucks, Rams, 49ers.
What? They don't even have Washington up
there? Washington's at 8 on my list. They do have Colts and Bills before that.
I got Washington, Bucks, Rams, Niners, Steelers on my top 5.
You want to know what I see that pains me a little bit because of what they did for you last year?
Patriots.
The Patriots, they're sitting at 9. Oh man, if you guys remember what the Patriots did there was like a 3-4 game spree.
That looked like a genius pick for me.
There was like a 3-4 game spree where the Patriots were just nuts. They have them at 9. This is, you know what, I kind of agree with this list a little bit here. I'm going with this list. 49ers, Colts over 49ers maybe. I do like the Bills. Washington is way, you know what, it's a tough list, but again, we're talking defenses. For me,
that's not going to make or break your fantasy football.
No. Defenses is not going to make it break because you know what, we're talking about the Steelers who are number 1 on that list, but when they're going against Kansas City, what are you doing? Are you playing Steelers, or are you possibly trying to look at like a waiver wire, or maybe you're looking for like a trade with somebody to maybe plug a defense in there?
On a normal league, I would jump in and just grab somebody else.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. Defenses is it could kind of go it's wishy washy. I like to play matchups if I'm playing in a standard team league and I can make moves. And there's waiver wires. Sometimes, obviously, it's good to go in there and grab a defense that you can kind of trust going into the season.
Yep.
But I'm playing matchups a lot of the time for defenses. If it's allowed. In my other league, we do have waiver wires, but we are charged a little bit for picking up waivers.
I used to run a league like that.
An ad drop is $5 in that league.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were only at like $2 when I was running it.
Yeah, it's $5 for an ad drop in that league. So waivers is kind of tough. But
that gets out there, dude.
Well, when you're looking at 10 pickups throughout the year,
Oh,
injuries happen, bye weeks happen, so you're looking at 10 maybe for sure. You're already looking at $50 in waivers alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I still do. I like to plug defenses matchup wise. Kind of what was the team year? Everybody wanted the defense that was going against Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yeah, it was too.
So like it's it's just one of those things you got to plug.
Them and the Jets, I think it was last year.
Yeah. So. Anything else you kind of wanted to go over?
You know what? I'm curious. What
tips?
What teams are you staying away from?
Ooh, teams.
That's a good one.
That's actually a really good one right there. Teams I stay away from. Jets.
Okay.
I'll go down the list. I'm gonna go down the list that we just looked at for defenses.
Top. Let's go top 3.
Top 3 teams I'm
that
staying
you're
away.
Gonna stay away from.
Oh man.
I'll give you a couple of mine.
Yeah.
Texans.
Yes.
I'm staying away from the Patriots.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I did. Who's over there?
Yeah.
I don't like Cam.
When does Mac Jones come in though?
Right. Yeah. Right now, and then I'm staying away from the Lions. Those are my 3.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this list, and you know what? I actually have a pretty decent set of people I'm staying away from. You know what? It's funny because I'm looking at the. I'm going to base it off of how we've brought up every single player from this team this entire time. I'm staying away from the Eagles.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah.
Staying away from the Eagles. I'm staying away from the Jets. Staying away from the Giants.
Except for Barkley.
Oh yeah, except for Barkley. I guess you can say Barkley's on the list. I'm not staying away from the Giants.
That's a tough one.
That is tough. I
Panthers? I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about McCaffrey again there.
Yeah, but see, that's someone.
Bengals, I actually kind of like. They have,
I do too.
Maybe Jets and Eagles is kind of really all I 100% stay away from. I don't take a single person from that team.
No.
Lions, if I'm being honest with you, I'm staying away from that entire team too.
I am too.
In
Texans.
You know what? That's actually in Texans.
Who are you gonna draft it with? even if you take Deshaun, right? Who's he throwing to? Fuller,
and he's suspended too, isn't he? He's suspended for the first couple games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess
I'm not chancing that.
Their starting running back is still David Johnson,
right.
who last year didn't do anything.
No.
So, I do like sticking with the 3 though. The Jets, Lions, and Jags probably could be on that list too.
Yeah. I don't think I'd.
Except for the fact that and I would only say that just because I don't know what's going on with that running back situation. It's kind of a mess now.
Yeah.
So
I wish they. I still don't understand why.
Huh. That's actually good. That was a good question. What team I'm staying away from?
Yeah.
The teams because everybody knows the teams that they target, right? Kansas City, Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
There's always teams that you always want to target. Huh.
Man, there's so much I got to freaking get ready for this week. I got too much, man. Yeah.
Well, anything else you wanted to bring up on the podcast? I mean, the podcast streaming. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but anything else?
No.
You actually brought up the rookies. I actually had that on there. Again, this is something I'm going to go throughout the year. Handcuffing running backs.
Oh, yeah.
Running backs you want to handcuff. If I'm just naming a few off the top of the head, Madison.
Yeah, you have to.
Behind Cook.
You have to.
Do you take a Tony Pollard behind Ezekiel Elliott right now?
Yes.
Sort of.
In our league, you have to.
Yeah.
25 rounds, you're drafting your stud backups is what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the guy behind Alvin Kamara over there at the Saints.
Murray.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Latavius Murray. Those are 3 handcuffs that kind of stick out to me as far as running backs go.
Yeah, Cook would be the first one for sure. You gotta go Madison.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? If you want,
I drafted him early and kind of pissed your dad off.
Yeah, that's right. That is funny. Yeah. But if you want to talk about the ultimate handcuff, it would probably be Hunt to Chubb.
Yep.
Probably be the ultimate handcuff to be able to grab. So yeah, those that's as far as I kind of had as far as I wanted to cover for week 1.
Yeah.
Guys, we're getting into the season.
Yep.
It's very exciting. To me, this is my Christmas. That's why I say every single year this is my Christmas time.
Yes.
We're gonna get into it a whole lot more, guys, every single week. So I will not be on next week. Obviously, it's the last week of preseason. This was my pre-draft show, and then week 1 I'll be back on here. So if you guys want to follow me live, I'm gonna do every single show live on Twitch. Go follow me, twitch.tv, Big Tom Bud. And I'll have guests on. Maybe Carson will be back on again once in a while. I'll have guests, whoever wants to come on the show. Let me know. If you guys have questions, let me know. And then I will be posting on my YouTube. I'll be posting a couple days later on my YouTube. You can find that at Big Tom Bud also. So go follow me on that. And let me know what you guys think about that.
I want to see some feedback. I want to see some people interacting and see what.
Again, guys, you guys can interact with us live through Twitch. So if you watch us live, I'm gonna, I'll keep everybody updated on the times that I go live on here. But the chat's on there live, and if you guys say something, it should pop up on the screen so everybody can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Again, don't do nothing crazy on there. Keep it to football conversations if you guys can, please. But yeah, get in here, chat with us, give us scenarios, questions. I'll go over anything.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. I appreciate everybody that came in and watched the first episode on YouTube. Make sure that you follow. I'm going to do the whole spiel with the, hey, everybody, welcome to the YouTube channel.
Follow, subscribe.
Yeah, follow, subscribe on my YouTube channel. Do all that for sure. And then all you have to do, go follow my Twitch, guys. It's 100% free. You're in there live with me at the moment, doing conversations with me live at that moment, and it's completely free. Subscription-based, but I do not want that. Just go in here chatting is all I care about.
We have a good time.
Yeah. I'm watching it constantly and talking with you guys. So, go follow me on both of those, and then we'll get to it. I'll see you guys week 1, and we will talk some more sports book betting. When we get to that time, I'll give you guys some of my thoughts on that.
Awesome.
So, all right. Thank you, guys. See you later.
See ya.